Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the UGAsports.com Postgame Overreaction show. I'm your host, Paul Maharry, joined as always by Radi and Nabulsi. Although last week he decided to take a trip over to Lexington and left us stranded here, but he's back now, folks. So I know you were crying in the comments, "Where's Radi? Where's Radi?" He's back. So he's, it makes the show. But no, 36-14 victory over Georgia Tech. There's a lot to dive into, a lot to overreact to on this game. Radi, while I get this all tweeted out and everything like that, for those people that didn't get to watch with Jim Donnan, how did he like the game?
He did not like this game. I mean, he expected Georgia to actually cover, and Georgia was had the possibility there towards the end. You had the giveaway by Carson Beck, but this was, 10-7 at the half. That's not what you wanted to. And there's the same frustration that he had last week, and the same frustration he's had in other games where Georgia just gets in Georgia's way. Now, give all the credit to Tech. They came out on that first drive and ran some great plays. They did, they attacked Georgia the best way you could. He made a great point. Jim Chaney's over there helping them. He's not calling the plays, but he coached on Kirby's team before. He knows what they like to do defensively. He knows the philosophy. He knows what his weaknesses are. They attacked the weaknesses, and they were able to move the ball the first couple drives. First drive, touchdown. Second drive was doing pretty good. But Georgia's defense bowed up and held them. Remember, there was one drop pass by Georgia Tech on that second drive. The guy could still be running. So
yeah.
Georgia Tech got in their way, but Georgia got in its. At one point, we were maybe towards the end of the first half or maybe beginning of the third quarter, Georgia had 4 penalties. 3 of them were 15-yarders.
Yeah.
That's Georgia getting in Georgia's way. And even when you're in the goal line or, down the red zone, you get a 5-yard false start that moves you back. So instead of a 3rd and 3, you're looking at 3rd and 8. Georgia just kept shooting itself in the foot. You had some bad passes from Stetson Bennett. You had some, miscommunications on RPO. Dylan Bell, you're throwing to Dylan Bell. Dylan's not even looking for the ball, or a different play altogether. So, again, miscommunication, missed tackles. The first half was full of missed tackles. They got a lot better in the second half. But, again, Georgia's not playing like Georgia can. But Georgia's just so much more talented that, of course, you're going to have a Kendall Milton take one to the house. You're going to have a long run by Kenny McIntosh, and then pulling Kenny nonstop. So, point being, Coach was happy to win, don't get me wrong, but he looks at it from a coaching standpoint. It's like, these are things, if the other team lines up and beats you, he gives them all the respect. But when you're beating yourself, he just wants to pull his hair out because it's like, why are we doing this? Why? And I agree with him. I'm like, why are you still having these problems in game 12? But you're 12-0. First time it's ever been done in school history, back-to-back undefeated seasons.
Yeah.
But we're still going to nitpick it to death.
Yeah. Of course. That's what we're here for. Guys, if you're new to the show, we love getting you on. So how you can get onto the show, you ask? You click the comment and click the description there. Click the little link, puts you into our waiting room, and you can come on the show with us. So we have regulars that come on the show all the time, but we also, the way they became regulars was they did it for the first time and jumped on with us, guys. I promise we don't bite. Radi does, but not hard. And we'll take good care of you. You get on here with us.
Only after a few drinks.
Yeah. So, get on here early before Radi starts pounding that ASW over there. Guys, also, we want to know where you're watching from. So put that in the comments. And if you have any comments you don't want to get on the show, but you have some comments, put them over there, and we will make sure to get those up on the screen. To get us started, you clicked it perfectly. Brett, big family part of the show right there. He says, I'll get us started. If we F around in the first half next week like we did this week, we get beat. It wasn't pretty. And I've got to wonder. I really have to wonder if maybe Stetson's hurt. That whole right arm thing. We made it a cool joke or whatever, a meme on Twitter with that girl rubbing the icy hot or whatever have you on his arm a few weeks back. But it just seems like every time he's on the sidelines now, is he's moving that arm, he's trying to get it going. And I'm not saying that, but it's concerning. His arm is definitely concerning because the offense doesn't look like it has in previous weeks.
You look, if he was hurt, some of those throws he had today, and there was the bullets. That one to Kenny McIntosh down the sideline,
right,
was legitimate. The one he fired into Marcus Roseby, Jack Saint, he had. He's fine. I get why people say that, but then, he had a crossing pattern on third down and threw it behind the guy. So, but that's Stetson Bennett. That's always been Stetson Bennett. People want to complain about his accuracy. Well, I mean, his completion percentage is usually amongst the highest in the conference, some of the highest in the nation. At one point in this game, though, he's sitting at 50%. He, got better, but he has games where it's just not great. I'm not trying to defend him. I'm not trying to pick on him. I'm just saying that there are times when throwing behind a guy on a slant is not unusual for him.
No, yeah, we
most of the time, though, it's dead on.
3 or 4 plays a game. 3 or 4 plays.
And Kirby said it, and I've been repeating it ad nauseum for you people who have been with us 12 times. I've done 10 shows. This will be the 11th. Kirby said it. Stetson has 3 or 4 boneheaded plays a game. And by boneheaded, I don't mean it's just a dumb decision. It's a bad pass or a pass into coverage or something that you just don't like. But here's the thing. Everybody has those. C.J. Stroud has those. Caleb Williams has those. DJ Ungalalele apparently has a few, JT Daniels had a few. But because there's this contingent, they want to say he's not the best quarterback, which is fine. Every time they do it, they're like, see? And I get it. He does have that issue. But also when he tucked the ball and ran a couple times, those were big pickups. He made good decisions. And that's the thing. You can see the pass go and whether it's complete or not. But what you don't see is the decision he makes. And if you talk to any of the coaches around it, they're like, this guy makes the right decisions. Or Kirby pulls to the side, hey, run the ball. Quit throwing it. Let's fix that a bit. So, but to me, the biggest issue in the first half was where were your don't make penalties and make some tackles.
Keeley got shook out of his shoes. Keeley got completely just shook out of his shoes in that one play.
And burned on multiple plays. I mean, are we going to have the same conversations about him, And he has 3 or 4 boneheaded plays a game. He also knocks down passes.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of the same. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Matthew Cotton giving us the 2-pound from over there on the other side of the lake says, "Go Dogs and kick some Tiger tail next weekend." That's exactly what's up on the docket. Is that Aaron Moore watching from Kent, Washington, Jack White from Denver, Colorado, Chris Daniel also from Denver, Colorado. What's the chances of that back-to-back Denver, Colorado folks? Aaron Moore says, "Weak opponent and focus on next week?" ? That's what it seemed like to start the game. It seemed like little turkey Thanksgiving hangover, if you will, Radi. And they weren't expecting Georgia Tech to come out and, hit them in the mouth like they did. First drive, touchdown. Boom. Yeah, I think it was 11 plays, 75 yards, I want to say. Yeah, 11 plays, 75 yards. Come out and punch in the mouth.
Yeah, good scheme and great execution. I mean, I'd hate to be the person they came out flat. Well, what do you equate that? What is flat? Well, to me, it looked exactly the way Georgia came out. They were asleep, man. Offense and defense. Then Georgia gets the ball, they go 3 and out. Come on.
Yeah.
This is just the runs weren't as crisp, the blocks weren't as tough. The tackles were bad. The pursuit was weak. So many guys getting juked out of their jock, taking bad angles, hitting a guy and just sliding off of him. What Kirby say before the Kentucky game? He was doing practice. They were working on tackling drills. Week 11, they're working on tackling drills because they know that Chris Rodriguez is just a monster to bring down. Mm-hmm. And he said, this is the time of year guys don't want to tackle anymore. They're tired of it. They're banged up. They're hurt. You saw him grabbing guys around the shoulders, and all of a sudden, a little pipsqueak Georgia Tech running back is carrying 3 guys 5 yards. I mean, a lot of their runs did fantastic. Now, when Georgia had numbers, Georgia's defense is good. When Georgia gets them behind the sticks, are good. But if the team is looking at 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1, Georgia doesn't stop that, and they haven't all year. I mean, it's a great defense from a scoring standpoint, but this defense needs to have the team behind the sticks so they a lot better knowing what's coming. There's issues in the secondary. Like you said, Ringo got burned, Malachi got burned, Javon Bullard got burned badly multiple times. Kamari Lassiter seemed to have a good game, but I'm sure we can go back and find it. Well, he gave up a touchdown. Kamari Lassiter the guy ran to the outside. The first touchdown. Where was Kamari Lassiter looking? I mean, he had his head turned east and west, and the guy was coming north and south, just ran right around the outside of him. So that in other words, the team has warts, but the team's also 12-0, and those warts you got to fix those warts by next week because a lot of the plays that Georgia Tech ran successfully, LSU will run successfully.
Yes. And
but
I mean,
with much better athletes.
I was going to say that, yeah. They've got much better guys to do this with. And again, you saw kind of the drives in the first half. Georgia didn't have a ton. So you had only 2 in the first quarter and then 3 in the second quarter, and didn't look good. That first half was not what you wanted to be. I said Kirby was going to sacrifice something at halftime to get this team back on track. Obviously, he did, for them to come back and, almost cover the spread had they not given up that touchdown there late at the end and maybe scored again. We got to see Beck in there as well. So we'll talk about that. Although he fumbled, but anyways, there's a lot to talk about. Hey, Andy Stowe, one of the guys that comes on the show all the time, says, "Hey guys, have a good show. Wanted to hop on today, but I finally caught COVID. My throat's sore, so I'm just going to watch. I do have a question though. Why doesn't the Dawgs just turn it on and go? When they turn it on, they are hard to stop." I kept saying it while I was watching the game. I was like, NASCAR, go fast right here. And they just weren't doing it for some reason.
They let the other team put in different adjustments. They constantly do that. I mean, if there's one thing Coach Donovan was yelling at throughout the watch-along show, it was, let's go fast here. Let's go fast here. They play looser than when they're trying to set up stuff. And to me, it feels like they try to get too cute. You've got better players. Feed 19, feed 6, and just keep going it. Do back and forth, Go to 84, go to 1 when you have to. But it's like, okay, we're going to you saw Kenny McIntosh pick up a 45-yard run?
Yeah, it was pretty long. I'll look it up.
11 minutes in the first quarter, then doesn't touch it again for the second half. Did he
45-yard. Yeah. Did he die?
I don't get it. But they let Dejon Edwards run it like 6 times in a row after that.
Yeah.
Hard running between the tackles with your smallest tailback.
But he averaged 7.8 a carry. Overall, rushing today was not the issue. 41 attempts, 270 yards, 6.6 a carry. Let's bring on Kurt here. Kurt, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing all right.
I didn't think I'd be first. This is
man, you're first.
Long time.
Everybody else was watching an Alabama game, Kurt.
What's that? Yeah. You caught me. But no, I was I don't know. I was kind of expecting something like this. Starting slow and then kind of getting it on. So I'm just honestly, I'm thinking back to middle school me where, you're thankful to get a win against a Florida or a Tennessee or something and to go undefeated in 2 back-to-back seasons, man. I mean, that's awesome. So trying not to lose sight of that. But I got a question for y'all. I know this has kind of been talked about before, but can you guys name any defensive back in the country that can consistently guard like a 6'7", 270 Darnell Washington in the red zone?
No,
there's not one.
I don't. When we struggle so much in the red zone, I don't know what it is why we're not throwing to him. Unless there's something in practice where he's just not bringing him down in practice or something, but it still kind of boggles my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you had the red zone woes big time today, and then I saw it was on TV. I don't know. Not just today. It's been past few weeks at least. But I saw today. I think it was a 3rd down or 4th down play where Stetson was on the sidelines. They gave him the call, and he had to stand there for a second and was like, "What is it again?" And then they did that weird bootleg where he kept it and tried to get in the end zone, didn't, and then they threw it to Brock for the 4th down touchdown pass. Yeah. But it was one of those plays where I told my stepdad, he's a Tech fan, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, they don't know. Stetson, they've never run this play before. I guarantee you, because he looked at it. He was like, "What are we doing?" "Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess." And then he came back. He came back to the coach and asked him again what it was. And they ran some weird ass play. And you were like, there it is.
But right before the ball was snapped, the entire Tech defense stemmed to the right, exactly where he was going. Yeah. Coach Donovan called it before it happened. He goes, okay, Stetson's keeping it here. So he saw what was coming. They saw what was coming. And he ran right into the teeth. There was an unblocked defender there. Whereas if he gave it to Dejon Edwards, Dejon ran around to the right. The defense is left. And there was nobody there. I mean, they knew right off the bat where the hell that was going. And he still almost scored. Technically he did, but they didn't hold up. But I'm with you, Kurt. It felt weird, man. It felt really weird to me to get in the red zone over and over again. And how many of these plays have they gotten in the red zone and they haven't even tried going to him? Now, to me, when you have number 19 out there, I could understand if you're not throwing to Darnell Washington because you keep trying 19, which they did on that fourth down. You know, I'm glad they went for it. And he got it. Great catch there. I mean,
oh gosh, yeah.
The grass is.
Did that not hit the ground? Did that not hit the
it
ground?
Did. It hit the ground. But if the ground moves it, then it's not a catch. But I mean, it was like touching the top of the. And by this time, I don't know if folks realize this. There's not a whole lot of grass out there. It's maybe that big.
Oh, really?
And it's spray painted. You know, that green is color.
Yeah.
You know, they paint the whole field. But here's the thing. On all those plays, I'm with Kurtz. Like, nobody can guard him. You ran that fade with Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint on first down. Now all of a sudden it's 2nd and 10 because he didn't make the catch. Then you get the 5 yards back you up, you know, with a penalty. Yeah. I'm like, Georgia's getting in Georgia's way. So I'm with you there. Georgia didn't execute, and just some of the, not the play calls, but the personnel calls. I'm with Kurt 100%. I'm like, damn, just try Darnell Washington, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a coach. I didn't play football in high school, so I'm sure there's something that I'm missing. But you figure that this far into the season, we would have targeted him a little bit more than we have.
You know what's going to be really upsetting, Kurt, is because you'll talk to folks who are like, well, maybe they're just saving these Darnell plays for the SEC championship game, or maybe the college, you know, like they're saving these plays, right? They don't want to show these plays yet. You know what's going to be super, you know, disconcerting is when you get all the way to the end and these plays are never run for Darnell. Right. And you're like, well, so these plays were just never there is what happened.
Where's the 2 tailbacks?
Yeah. You know, because you keep telling yourself every week, right? That's how you get, that's how you come over. That's how you know, get over it. All right, well, maybe they're saving those red zone targets for Darnell. But if we don't see him next weekend, then, I mean, hell, I don't know what you're saving them for. You know, it's time to put him out there on the field.
Yeah. I think you bring up a good question that I've always had, because I always hear every single year, oh, you know, at the beginning of the year, it's like, well, you know, we had a vanilla play calling, you know, because we were trying to not open up the playbook until we play this team or that team, or we're trying to save it for another time. I don't know how much I buy into that. I kind of imagine that at this
love
point,
saying that
you've put most of what you're going to be doing on film, and we've got the talent to execute. I don't know.
You might see a play like we did today where it was that, like I said, that I'm referring back to that Stetson kind of rollout on 3rd down, where we haven't really seen that this year too much. But for the most part, yeah. I mean, every one of these plays we've seen multiple times by this point. There's nothing. Can you think of something, Radi, back maybe like previous, going back to history-wise, that there was a play that we saw late in the season, SEC championship game or later, where we just were like completely surprised that was a play that we hadn't seen throughout the whole year, or a guy that got involved that heavily? Like that's what I'm trying to get at. Are we gonna? Is there a world where we can see Darnell Washington get 7 receptions in a game?
That I don't think that world exists, because
that's what I'm saying. Like that, you know,
gotten away from throwing it. I mean, past few weeks, how many touches has Brock Bowers had? I mean, they had to give it to him on the first play of the game just because the guy had hardly any catches or had any touches. Kenny McIntosh, they got away from throwing to him. Remember, for the first 3 or 4 games, Kurt, he was the team's leading receiver.
Yeah.
And then they just, hey, we're going to stop. That works too well. We're going to stop throwing to him. Then, of course, you know, he catches that one down the sideline, almost scores. Gets the horse collar, you know, they're able to punch it in. I'm like, why do you get away from what works so well? But the idea of holding stuff back, I just don't see that. I don't agree with it too much. Besides, if you hold it back, that means you haven't run it a whole lot.
Yeah.
Right.
But we did see today, Coach pointed this out, this was like the first time Georgia was stuck, like first time in a long time where they're actually stuck on like their own 2-3 yard line.
Yeah.
And they came out in the dual wing set and punched it forward, you know, and okay, that's something new, but that's not something you're trying to freak out about when you're, you know, breaking down film for those guys. But that was just a I don't want to say vanilla game, but to me, when you're trying to call stuff and the execution's not there, I don't want to bang on Todd Monken, but I'm like, well, if I call this play and you don't run it right, I don't know that the play didn't work or you didn't work.
Right.
Should I call it again?
Right.
So that's why I freak out. I'm like, how do you – people always say, well, what do you think about the coaches? I'm like, I don't know what they called, or if what they called worked.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. And I mean –
if it didn't work because of a stupid play call, bad personnel in there, or the people that did it just blew it up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And to his credit, I mean, we turned it on in the second half, and I'm glad we did. Glad to see Milton, you know, breaking some big runs again. It's good to see him back. and having a lot more of those kind of explosive plays that we're used to seeing with the Sonys and the Chubbs and the Gurleys,
That was very much a Nick Chubb type run right there, for sure. Just get through the hole and go for that touchdown.
Yeah.
He feels like feast or famine.
Oh, he's 100% feast or famine. That's his game. Yeah. If he's hot,
one that gave it to him and is like, come on, man, you got to bang it up in there. And then later in the game, he takes one to the house. I'm like, so here's the thing. I'll ask both of you. If you are, Todd Monken and you have your choice of tailbacks in there, do you want, he's got that capability, but he also has the capability of just kind of shuffling up to the line and getting tackled, for no gain. Dejon Edwards, like you said, 7 yards of carry. Well, hell, just feed Dejon nonstop. But then you got Kenny McIntosh doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
There's some guys are consistent, some guys are inconsistent. Who the hell do you give the ball to?
Right now, for me, Kenny Mack, but go ahead, Kurt.
No, yeah. I agree with you. I think Kenny Mack. I think Milton's gotten better as the season goes on. I feel like sometimes his vision is a little lacking. But like I say, he's improved a lot. And I think I don't want to discount him for, when he was injured and kind of nursing that injury there too. But I think Kenny Mack has been the most consistent and at times the most physical too. His yards after contact, I don't know what his number is, but it's got to be up there. He runs really well. I like the way that he plays. And he's a threat in the passing game too.
Yes.
More so than the other two.
Yes.
So
It'll be interesting to see Kendall Milton as your senior tailback next year.
Yeah.
Taking over Kenny McIntosh's spot. Can he be healthy and be that guy? Or is it the Dejon Edwards show? Is it a transfer running back?
Yeah.
Or is it just the same show?
Yeah, could be. Well, hey, I don't want to take too much time from some other folks, but last thing I'll say before I go, I live in Baton Rouge, and I've been probably watching as many LSU games this year as I have Georgia games, and I think LSU's gotten much better as the season goes on, but I expect the Dawgs to win pretty big next week. So
nice.
How about them? Go Dawgs.
Nice.
Thank y'all so much. I really
appreciate you joining in. What a good caller there. I like him. I'm gonna celebrate with a little Bustletown vodka here. So
while you do that, I will bring on Zach F and introduce him. Zach, what's going on, man? Can you hear us?
Hey, man. Yeah, how you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Where are you watching the game from today? Where'd you watch it
at? Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. I was just
go to Burrito Gallery and tell me how good it is.
All right, we'll do. Well, I know this is the overreaction show, so I'm ecstatic that we are 12-0. Undefeated back-to-back seasons. But I'll just admit I'm concerned about that first half effort. To me, it's like 2 weeks in a row. Just seemed like we were sleepwalking the first half. And to me, when you start to develop some bad habits, I just don't know if you can just turn the light switch on when you get in big games. I just don't think that's the way we want to play. We want to be able to put teams away and bring our A game. And like Kirby says, play to the standard, not play to the team. And so that's kind of concerning to me. The other thing that seems concerning is I think that teams are starting to attack us on the edge. Like I noticed that, this first half, the offensive coordinator for Tech, I thought did a great job, similar to what we saw against Kent State, where they put those 3 receivers out to one side and throw that screen out there. And we've not been able to stop that play all year long. So if I'm scheming against us, that concerns me. And then on the defensive side, on the offensive side of the ball, maybe Monken and the crew were just going vanilla, but it's just like run, pass. I don't know. I just think we have so many weapons, and to me, we just don't utilize. Like you've been saying, Roddy, when are we gonna go to Big O? The guy's 6'7", 270, and he gets one target the whole game.
To be fair, as people point out in the comments, Stetson overthrows him every time he throws to him.
Yeah, I
think he thinks he's 7'6".
Yeah. I'm encouraged by the running game. It sounds like just like against Kentucky last week and this week, when we decide we want to run the ball, notwithstanding when we get within the 2 or 3 yard line, that's another matter. But everywhere else, when we decide we want to run the ball, we can run the ball. No one can stop us. But again, I think it's going to take more than that. We've got to begin to, Lad McConkey, Kearis Jackson. I mean, we've got receivers. I just don't understand why we're not opening this offense up. I just, I did see AD got in the game. I saw him once or twice, so I'm hoping maybe
like a fake look.
Yeah, so
They brought him out there
to try to trick them into. The idea is he comes onto the field. They're like, oh wait, we didn't scout that guy. So you hope to get them confused and running over to try to catch him, and then you try to get them to jump off side. So
yeah.
I was told he wasn't going to play, and he didn't. But if they got them to jump off sides, then that would have been great. But
right.
Not quite ready, but he was a good distraction. That's a good it's neat stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of missed tackles today as well. I mean, I just the good thing is, hey, we blew out Tech, but I think Kirby and the crew have got a lot of film that they can utilize to say, hey guys, we have not arrived. Our last 2 games, glad we got W's, but they were not our best effort. So hopefully that'll give us some incentive to, come out on all cylinders next week against LSU. And I'll be there, so I'm looking forward to the game. But we got to, I want to see us trending, playing our best, and the last 2 weeks have not left me with that. So I'm just a bit concerned in that regard.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head with every talking point you just talked about.
I'm gonna leave Zach to do my job. He nailed it better than I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really just hit the nail on the head. The last 2 games are very concerning. The offense looks completely different than what we became accustomed to early on in the season with Stetson throwing for 300 passing yards.
Right.
We haven't seen that. Stetson.
And we were complaining about the lack of run game.
Yeah,
right.
And now you've got the exact opposite where the run game is churning, man. Like you get K-Mac the ball. Like I said, Edwards averaged 7.8 today. Kenny looked good. Kendall Milton had the long touchdown run. You can get it to any of those guys right now, and it's working out. But now you've become one-dimensional in the run game. So you've got to be able to 50-50 that. And Georgia hasn't been able to 50-50 that all year. It's either been a huge passing attack or now it's been this rushing attack. So I think that's what's got folks a little frustrated is, hey, we can do both of these things really well. We've seen both these things done really well, but we haven't seen both of them done really well in the same game.
But let's give the coaches a little credit here, though. If you have a team that can't stop the run, don't throw it. If you have a team that can be through the air, throw it. And if you have to go 80-20, fine. Because remember, all they're concerned about is getting the W. So it's like and here's the thing, if they can go back and forth against Mississippi State and you throw for 300 yards, great. And then if you have to run for 300 against Kentucky, that is a luxury teams do not have.
I agree.
So if you've got that ability, great. To me, the biggest concerns are why the hell are you jumping on the pile? Warren McClendon, a guy who's played,
Yeah, that's so uncharacteristic of him. It's uncharacteristic of him, but I don't know. Yeah.
The penalties. To the face mask on a stiff arm. It's just like passing.
Although that should have been offsetting, though, because that was also a horse collar. Should have been offsetting. I mean, the refs today.
I mean, we got BK UGA. He's waiting in the wings here. We'll bring him on in a minute. But I ask you, Zach, and BK, how many times was that a touchdown? That's not a touchdown.
Oh yeah, the second one with Stetson was definitely a touchdown. I mean, that one, it was a touchdown. I'm like,
I thought that one was a touchdown more than the Brock. I really thought the Brock was incomplete pass.
I thought the Brock was incomplete too
because you could see it on the ground. You saw it. That ball.
Arian still scored.
And came back up.
I'm sorry. Arian Smith scored.
Yeah.
Oh, you think Arian Smith scored?
I've seen Arian Smith. His foot hit before his knee did.
I agree. On the other leg, his other leg was in.
Yeah.
So
if part of you's out, it doesn't matter. But his foot was touching the ground before his knee did. So that's a score. You lose 4 points there. And then you have the quarterback. He's not in. Didn't they almost lost the ball after that? And then he had to go for a fourth down to get the touchdown. Yeah. I'm like, if they fumbled or had something happen there and it goes back the other way, holy shit. The point being, it's just don't have the penalties. Georgia winds up even in turnovers.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since you've actually.
That's been a long time. That was a positive. My last take will be this. I know. Y'all got to get somebody else on. No, I'm also concerned. We got to get some pass rush, man. That's the other thing I'm concerned about. I mean, we are missing with Nolan out. I'm not going to call out any players' names because I just don't do that. But there's a particular defensive end that's playing a whole lot that leaves a lot to be desired, fellas. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, we got to get some pressure. I mean, I see what's keeping Michael from playing. Michael and Bill from kind of being your guys there in the rotation at this point. You know, I don't know. I'm concerned about our pass rush as well. I mean, we got to get more.
The best the pass rush looked was when you had those 3 true freshmen get sacks back to back to back. You had Bayer get credit for the sack on that play, and then you had Marvin Jones Jr. get the sack, and then you had Mike Hill get the sack. That was the best time the pressure looked all game, and it was freshmen in there.
Yeah, but those plays, and again, I'm always sounding like the contrarian, but I've asked about that, and they're like, look, on our third down packages, you know, those guys don't have to worry about the run.
Yep.
So they're pinning their ears back and going. And again, that's what I was saying about this defense. When the defense has the offense behind the chains, you know it's more than likely going to be a pass, and you can play that way. Taking that variation out, you know, when it's 2nd and 2, you don't know what the hell they're going to do. And they're caught analyzing. They're caught with bad eye discipline. They're caught trying to come up with something. So that's towards the end of the game, he's like, okay, we got this in here. We're not worried about it, and you can just pin your ears back and go. But to your point, when you lose Nolan Smith and you go more to Robert Beal, although Beal had some pretty good plays. We called his name a lot.
Yeah, I like Beal.
Chaz Chambliss had some
I'm just going to be honest with you. Yeah, Chaz has got some issues, guys. I'm just going to be really honest with you.
If they started Michael Williams at the beginning of the season. So
and that's what I'm saying. Why is he not starting now?
What's kind of different positions? Sure but I'm like, I like him on the field, but
I do too.
And I think, you not having Dan Jackson back there. I mean, he's not the fastest guy, but Dan knows football and he analyzes plays really well. So, and not having William Poole out there hurts. You've lost some great players this year, And
so,
but the biggest loss to me right now, it's not A.D. Mitchell. It's Nolan Smith.
It's Nolan Smith. And I mean, Chaz plays hard. He's a damn good dog, but it's kind of like, that old Sesame, 2 of these things don't belong together. I mean, you can just see there's a drop off there. I mean, it's huge. I mean, you just see it. I mean, you can see it. So, the one thing that gives me some confidence is that I think next week against LSU, I think Kirby and them are going to come and show the quarterback there at LSU. I can't remember some things he hasn't seen. Yep. He's going to see some stuff he hasn't seen. I know he can move around with his legs. I don't see him being able to pick our defense apart with his arm, and I think we're going to throw some really exotic stuff at him. I'm concerned about their receiver, Butte, though. I'll be honest with you. That guy, if he comes with his A game, he could.
Here's a question, Zach. Before you go, who you want manning up, Butte? You want Lasser or you want Ringo?
That's a tough call.
You got to give me.
I don't know
what's DC.
I put Ringo on him, but I'm concerned about Ringo. Again, he'll make a spectacular play, and then again, he gets beat. I'll just be honest. And all DBs get beat. I mean, hey, we play, man coverage. Kirby says, hey, that's my defense. Guys are going to get beat from time to time. What concerns me more about Ringo, though, is missed tackles. He keeps the guy in front of him in that Tennessee game, and then we saw it again this week. He just whiffs on guys sometimes. And, those plays can turn into having a national championship game last year. He'll whiff on a guy, and that, what should be a 7 to 8 yard completion turns into 30, 40, 50 yards. So he's got to come up and make sure he makes those tackles. But, we'll see.
I know who I won't cover, Butte.
Who?
A sniper with a 50 caliber, man.
Jeez.
That guy, I want somebody with a glass on him, man. That kid is a monster, And hey, who's gonna block Perkins? Keep a tight end in for that.
We
might not see anything go to Darnell Washington.
I'll tell you what, though, I've got confidence in our left tackle. He played wonderful against Anderson last year in the national championship game in that second half. I'll take that matchup.
But he doesn't have to line up on the left.
Yeah, I'll take McClendon too. I'm confident in my 2 tackles with McClendon and
right.
I mean, those guys have seen the best. I mean, they saw Aiden Hutchinson and Ajabo, Michigan handled them. Anderson last year again. They'll have to show me. Put it like that. Perkins will have to show me against our tackles.
Yeah, we heard Ajabo, we heard Will Anderson, we heard Hutchinson, we heard all those guys. And who whipped their ass but Jamari Sawyer?
Yep.
And how's he doing in the NFL?
Balling in the NFL, by the way. He's a baller.
And we picked in the Falcons picked Justin Schaefer. He's not even on the damn practice squad before Salyer, and I'm just like, man. But don't ask anybody that's covered the team. You know, we don't know. We don't know anything. Cali Vision says Stetson needs a damn haircut every week. Needs to turn this to Staquavius every week.
Staquavius.
Yeah,
I agree.
You notice
he needs to go Staquavius.
Longer the teams played shittier.
Yeah,
exactly.
He needs a haircut before the SEC championship game.
There we go.
They were like,
I agree.
I agree. Kentucky grew out work. Mississippi State. Yep. Just the longer it gets, the worse his play is.
Gotta have the new haircut before LSU. Have to.
I want to see us go to Kearis Jackson some too. I'm telling you. I mean, the guy can make plays. You know, I remember when Stetson first came back after JT Daniels, it was like his guy was Kearis, and that seems to have gone away. But Kearis is healthy. He's experienced. I really would like to see Kearis get more involved. So we'll see.
They put him in the slot, but I would let him be that Z.
Yep, I would too. I agree.
Z. And I just. I'd put him at the X. I don't care. I think Kearis can do it. He's not the biggest guy, but
I agree.
Yep. I mean,
I agree.
He's just open.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well,
Zach.
thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. Go Dogs.
You got to call in every week now.
Yeah, you got to call in next week.
We'll do. Go Dogs.
All right, man. See you, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
We got BKUGA here. Let me go ahead and get him added on. BK, what's going on, man?
How you doing, fellas?
Doing all right, man. How was your turkey day?
It was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Smoked some turkey with a little dry brine for a few days before, then smoked some ham and leftovers, of course. I think leftovers, of course, are better than the original anyway.
Of course.
Have enjoyed a holiday full of football. We had 3 TVs out for those 12 noon games, and of course, the most important game was on the largest TV. And so I peeked into the event during the first quarter, and it was exactly kind of what I felt like it would be. And then,
happy bunch of folks, man.
Oh man, I tell you, that's the greatest place to go during a Georgia game. However, and I know it makes me sound old, but for those of us that remember many other years, I really have. I went into every game this year and was never like concerned, and the Munson in me really never came out. I'm not really talking much about like a back-to-back or repeat or anything like that. I said, look, I've now seen it with my own eyes. Last time it happened, I was born a few months after, and me and my son were able to be in Indianapolis for that. So it was just I said, look, this is all gravy. Well, then as the season has progressed, it's like, man, this could happen again. But at the same time, I've just had this mentality that, we're going to win. Yeah, we're going to win. And I think to a degree at the start of this game, Georgia players stepped on the field like, we're going to win. And some of the execution was a little off, maybe. They're human beings, and they're doing a lot more at their age than I did. So I'm not going to ever be one to call them out really much anyway. But what I'm just massively impressed is these first and second year players. The insanity that we've got all these players gone, and then you see, just one after another.
Dumas Johnson, BK. You saw that when he put his helmet on the ball, knocked the ball out, got a fumble recovery. This guy's up for the Butkus Award. It's his first year playing significant snaps at the middle linebacker.
He's a sophomore.
He's replacing a Butkus Award winner.
Well, in the interview y'all put up,
you make the list, which is fantastic, and small-minded was everywhere today.
The interview y'all put up earlier in the week, what do they call him? Old man? That's not exactly what they call him.
Pop.
Yeah, Pops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never satisfied with his play. Hey, look, I haven't done the job. I need to be better. And you're like, this dude's a sophomore? Imagine what that dude's going to be next year. Because of what he is. And then Samael, I have watched him as long as y'all been posting videos of that kid. And so I have, he's just an Energizer bunny. But then listen, how about Lassiter?
Yeah.
I mean, good night. And then with Keeley today.
The sophomore?
Yes. And then how about Keeley with all the talk of, oh, crap. Oh, he missed one. Oh, crap. He was maybe a little more physical than he should be. But then I was telling our family was watching, I said, I can't wait for the third and fourth quarter because that dude's going to do something. If he has a game where he makes any mistake, and I don't know that it's as many as we want to necessarily point out. Sometimes he's just physical, and I don't know that Kirby's going to be on his tail for being physical. If some calls are going to happen. Today, I guess, I mean, whoever paid those refs today, good for them. They were horrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
get your money back, man. That was awful.
Yeah, that was a rough crowd. That was a rough crowd.
I mean, horrible. You just assume, well, it's definitely going against Georgia again. And then the maturity of this very young team is, all right, next play. All right, next play. And look, was the offense perfect today? No. Does it seem like it takes us a while to get going? Maybe. Sure. That's valid. It's all valid. And yes, I don't understand why Six wasn't carrying the ball the whole game. But then he makes a huge reception, and you're like, yeah, well, yeah. And at no point, and I would dare say if you're a Munson in there, well, you got a lot of Munson fans, watching or on the board, at no point, I'm just like, you know what, we're going to figure this out. We'll figure it out. And as a Georgia fan,
that's not the thing. It's the fear that what if they don't later? It's not. I don't think anybody was worried about losing a Tech today. They're just like, man, if we have this game against LSU or against Michigan or against Ohio State or hell anybody, a good team is going to beat us in that now. And that's kind of the way a lot of people felt. Remember how everybody was picking Tennessee to beat Georgia?
And what happened?
Lackluster games.
And what happened?
I think I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just saying that's why I think a lot of people, I don't think anybody's worried about this game, but they're like, what are we doing?
Oh, I get it. I get it. And look, I can you imagine what it's going to be like when 4 quarters come together? You can forget it. It doesn't matter who you put on whatever color jersey you want to put on. If you saw, and I mean, I know y'all probably didn't see much of that Ohio State-Michigan game. I'm going to be straight with you. They were giving Michigan quarterback all this love for making a few passes over 45 yards. That is neither one of those. The whole time I'm watching the game, I'm like, yeah, Georgia will kill either one of y'all. Yes, physicality-wise, Michigan is something. I'm going to give them some credit. But then again, like you were just saying, we've heard all that before. I mean, what they came out in the game last year in the playoff, basically just kind of putting Georgia down. And what happened? Well, I don't know that we can hold them. What was it, a 7-point or 0 last year? They may get 10 points, but I think we can put up 40 on them. And I guess my biggest concern during the year was maybe Ohio State. They've looked like crap the last several games against teams they shouldn't look like crap to, I don't think. But so I don't know.
They're the only team, like Omari says here, Omari Carmichael, big part of the fam here, says only team I was worried about is Ohio State, and they lost. Me too. That was the only team, and that's the
same last year.
Well, yeah, that's also the team that Vegas said would be the closest. I don't know if you guys seen that on Twitter. They put out the 4 teams that are in and what the spreads would be like as of if it was playing right now. And when they did that last week after what night did they do the show? Tuesday night, the stupid ass show 1 through 4 Tuesday night. They do it right after that. Ohio State was only a 2-point dog to Georgia. That was the closest of any of the playoff teams. I think it was 12.5 for TCU and 8.5 or 9 for Michigan. So Ohio State was fairly close on Vegas boards. That was the only team that. And to Caleb Peavy says, OSU isn't out yet. We do have a lot of games to play tonight. We've got
USC Notre Dame, baby.
That's a big game. You also have championship games. TCU is, bound to slip up at some point, right? Or are they just going to backdoor their way all the way into this?
They're backdoor their way into this, and they get raised to the ground by 40. So
I know this kind of dates me a little bit, but they look like the 0-2 Ohio State team, where they just won a bunch of games very closely and made it to the national championship. They'll make it to the semifinal. Then I agree, they're gonna get boat raced. Yeah. And hey, good for them. Great season, unbelievable first year coach, yada yada. But they're not Georgia. They're just not Georgia.
And here's the crazy thing: Alabama's sitting there at 7, just saying, "Look, guys, we still got a chance. There's still a chance."
Good. Bring it. I'll be straight with you. Now, I'm a little nervous in saying that because a year ago this time was the last time I was on this show. And I had come in talking big. Oh, we're going to handle them. We're better. And you said, so will you come on next week? Oh, sure. And then we got our junk handed to us, and I stuck my head between my tail and went to bed.
BK's fault. We know now. He started talking shit, and he got destroyed.
Just so you know, BK, I did get credentials for this game. That's the only game Georgia's lost in the past 2 years. So I did get credentials to this game. So I'm just saying, trying to right my woes for you guys, bring that mentality back. But
if they lose, we will never credential your ass again.
Yeah, if they lose, I'm banned from going to Georgia games. So
one of my favorite Tam reviews too. Oh yeah, for real. Was the shirt that said "Nobody cares." Did you see a few times? I don't know if it was. Like maybe player assistants or whatever, wearing the "Nobody Cares" shirt.
Yep.
And I still think there's players on that team that experienced last year that still felt, you know what, nobody cares. We got to do our job. And seeing Bear out there today, and I know it's in the second half, they're worn down. Bear looked amazing in his time out there, and gives you a lot of hope for when I think the next number 1 draft pick from Georgia gets drafted. Later on, Carter. Bear looked amazing. And we're a 4-headed monster, really, and running now. KM, good night. Milton looked, and that's just a dude you pull for all year, knowing all the kind of these issues he's had, and hopefully he comes back again, because we're seeing as he gets into form. And did number 5 make it out there on the field? I thought I saw him on the field maybe one time.
It was a trick play. They weren't going to let him take a snap. They put him out there to try to draw the defense off sides. So they put him out there.
Didn't they do that with Pickens last year too?
Yeah.
They put him out there
for
like
a hard time. They bring somebody out there. The defense is like, wait a minute, who's got that? Because you have your calls and stuff based on personnel. You throw out a personnel distraction, and you hope then you run up to the line as if you're trying to run a trick play because you got a guy in there they haven't scouted all week. And you get one of those guys to jump off sides. And then, of course, when they didn't, you call a timeout, which is a timeout you could have used at the end of the half, that you didn't have.
True. Just a couple of comments, if possible, about next week's game. I think we don't need to underestimate Brian Kelly. I think he has shown that with the right talent, what he can do. And that team has just gotten better and better after that loss to Florida State to begin the year.
I agree with that. I said that earlier somebody had me on a podcast this week. I said, Brian Kelly, he wanted the smoke. He came to the SEC, said, I want to face the best competition. And everybody was like, dude, this guy is not going to fit in. And lo and behold, he's got the LSU team looking pretty good. And if you can have a coach like Brian Kelly come down there and then lock up those borders, that's the scariest team in the West moving forward to me. Alabama can be there, Nick Saban. You get a competent head coach at LSU that can lock down the borders, and he's doing a really good job. So,
well, I think he's also while their physicality at Notre Dame was never anything for an SEC team per se.
Right.
He does emphasize the physical, and I think that will help maybe in future years. And this year, he's already won just by getting there.
First year.
And the way Kirby motivates a team, knowing all year, hey, first of all, some of y'all weren't even major pieces to last year, but y'all can do something that last year's team didn't do. And there are some of us that absolutely this game is going to absolutely matter. I know you've talked about like confetti and stuff. Listen, if you decide you want to pass out some SEC confetti, I'd like to be on that list because it matters. I think it's another step in being that dominant team in the league. It's an assumption. Well, they're going to get there. No, we need to finish it off, cap it off, and then get healthy and hopefully have a better array of talent. One thing I was going to ask, is there no chance Nolan Smith can make it for the playoff at all? Is he okay? So his situation, he's done no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you think today, because you alluded to it in 3-2-1 and other, and I don't, is some of this was vanilla play calling? And I know that weird. I mean, I was shocked when we did that throw to Bowers in the end zone on the short fourth down and goal play. But would you say that some of the stuff was still just kind of plain today, or did y'all see something different?
I mean, no, Coach Donald was calling almost every play before it happened. It's like, okay, formation,
Right.
it's going to be an inside zone.
Yes.
They're going to run this into the boundary. Watch this flag to Bowers. He's going to run a flag here to the field. Nothing shocking, nothing new, But again, you don't need to do any of that stuff. Just run the plays you normally run really well, like Kendall Milton's long touchdowns. Like, hey, we're gonna pull the tackle or the guard and the tight end. They're going to lead the way through on the pull, run right behind them. Just, standard pin and pulls. We saw a lot of those, and it's like, okay, this is fundamental football for Georgia. But I don't know. The zone read with Carson Beck.
I didn't understand that.
I don't either.
But I will say we got so vanilla, and like you were saying, he was calling out the plays. Did you see several times the defensive coordinator was calling out the play, counter, and lo and behold, the next play was a counter, meaning they knew what was coming.
But we can tell. I mean, but here's the thing: it's like you got to stop it. It's like, okay, they can tell your formation, but they, when your counter is Xavier Truss and Darnell Washington pulling to the right. And the backside guy gets picked up from the guy in motion.
Right.
Okay. And they ran that counter with the smallest tailback who was getting, 7-8 yards a carry. So,
yeah. No, I love it.
Knowing the counter's coming. Now stop it.
Exactly. No, I love it because we still have stuff in the book that's not been used. And there'll still be stuff where we'll see, I think, in the next coming weeks. And so, again, I don't like talking too much about dynasties and back-to-backs and stuff because that's that Munson.
All right, Dane Young.
Right. But I think look, you're just like, who can somebody beat this? Even when we're not at our best. Can you imagine what the future is? I mean, my soul. That's why I put on the board I did go after the game and got on the board for a second. And I said, for my whole life, I'm 41, so I'm old for the board, I think, to a degree. Right. My whole life, I heard 34 in the early 80s, 34 in the early 80s. I was zero. I was barely able to watch TV, 2-3 years old. We are living in the good old days right now, Georgia football.
Sounds familiar.
We are living in the good old days. And so that's exactly, no, you're right.
This is the golden age. You're right, BK.
Yes. I told my teenager, I got a 13-year-old, I said, so my teenage years was 8 wins. You knew going to Florida every year, oh crap, that kind of stuff. And even fighting with Georgia Tech to a degree. I said, dude, you're living in an age that I can't even imagine. And I said, so let's enjoy every single second.
Yep.
Nothing's guaranteed. And if Alabama is falling off, and I don't know what to call it, but if they are, every team has a lifespan. Now, I hope we sign Kirby and he decides to coach a lot longer than I think necessarily he may want to, so that our lifespan will be nice and long. But this is incredible. I mean, when we're upset, we didn't get a 35-point favorite and we didn't hit the number, which I didn't think we'd get that either personally. But the fact is,
game close.
Oh yes, we did, and didn't play, and we could have played better. Think about this. This era of Georgia football, back-to-back undefeated seasons.
First time ever for Georgia football.
Yes, a quarterback that please vote online so we can get him to New York, who needs to have a statue. Hopefully it's already being built for this guy.
Dude, they don't even have a Herschel Walker or Vince. I mean, they got a Vince Dooley statue, but where's the Charlie Trippy statue?
Well,
there's not.
I'm just saying, if Stetson wins too, he's definitely getting a statue.
Well, then again, the inner Georgia fan would find a problem.
Oh yeah, of course.
With 34, with Trippy. Well, listen, man. I don't know. Listen, I thought when Matthew Stafford was like, here's our guy. We're gonna make it now, Matthew, and no Sean. This is our chance. And this dude, and to a degree, the whole offense has taken his mentality. Okay, we're just gonna go down the field and we'll score. Yeah, we'll have an issue. No problem. We're chill. So listen, thank you for all you do. I really appreciate all y'all do in UGA sports. It is the best Georgia community I don't know if you hear that barking. That's my English bulldog running.
There you go.
Yeah, but no, seriously.
Hey, come feed me.
Much. Yeah, that's exactly right. He's like, look, you fed yourself during the game. Time to feed me now.
Mhm.
And yes, no matter what, I will be back on next week if
Yes.
Lord willing. All right.
Lord willing, the creek don't rise.
We're going to talk to you.
If you'll have me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Do come
See you,
back.
my man.
We love having our guys come back in all the time, but right now we got to pay some bills. Or mention our friends ASW Distillery. This is basically a fantastic distillery in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area. Made up 5 of their 6 founders are actual UGA grads. This is distilled by Dawgs. They make award-winning drinks. You see it on the screen there. They go out to the World Spirits Competition. This is like the World Championship for liquor, and they win 5 golds and 2 silvers. And we actually have we've been giving away a bottle of their Fiddler bourbon each week. This week's winner is Alex Dale. Alex Dale, I need you to send me your address. So
Congrats, Alex.
We can get that to our friends over at ASW Distillery, and they will send that to you. We talk about the Fiddler bourbon all the time, the award-winning one. I'm letting you know they have a Bustletown vodka, and I'm having that right as we speak. I know that Eddie from Ackworth went and found some the other day. Bustletown vodka. It is a fantastic, smooth, delicious vodka. You need to try it. Of course, they have their Hardwood Fiddler. They have their Winterville Gin. They have the Fiddler Soloist. They have Hardwood. Just fantastic stuff from Fiddler. Try it out. And again, later on in the show here, I will put the next drawing into the comment section so you can jump in on that and hit them up. You're absolutely going to love it if you try it. We've had people on the show try it, and they tell me, hey, this is fantastic bourbon. So I'm sure you will like it.
Jeremy?
And bring in Jeremy Neighbors and the baby.
Eddie, I see you. We'll get to you, Eddie. Jeremy, what's up, man?
Hey, boys. I actually can't really stay. I was just about to chat you, man. I gotta go. I'll just try to make it real quick.
All right.
About got to meet the wife and fam out to eat here.
Oh, God. The worst.
I know.
No, I'm kidding.
The family life. I'll tell you, yeah. I'm glad we got the win. But I'll tell you, next week, and honestly, since with the way the Suckeyes went down today and the manner in which they went down, like many of y'all said, that was the team that really kind of scared me. But I guess after that, really all that remains to me that would scare me is LSU and USC with their running quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nightmare for Georgia.
Yeah. Georgia hasn't faced one this year, have they?
Yeah.
Who?
Bo Nix.
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony's, yeah, Bo, I don't know.
Yeah, Bo can run.
Bo can, but it's more like a unorganized chaos when Bo runs. It's not.
They faced one today, and he took it in for 7.
Oh, man. Well, just real quick, I guess, because I got to go this next week. Hopefully, I can stay on longer. But what do y'all think the line is next week?
We always do this every week, eh? LSU plays tonight, right?
They play tonight at 6, I think.
Yeah.
You always get it right. Come on, Paul. Come on, Vegas.
I know.
Paul's always wrong except for the line.
I was thinking maybe 10. That was my guess.
No, 14.5.
14.5.
14.5.
Way too generous.
14.5. 14.5.
Well,
but that all depends on tonight's game, which we haven't seen yet between Texas A&M and LSU. Good God, Texas A&M is 4-7, 1-6 in the SEC. Dear Lord,
$30 million don't buy what it used to, baby.
Oh God.
Well,
but yeah, 14.5, Jeremy. That's what I'm putting it on. If it's anything lower, go ahead and just pound it because I think
Jeremy, we're gonna need that baby's college fund for a new NIL deal for all the Texas A&M kids that are going to go in the transfer portal.
Again, hopefully Stetson can pay for it when they win another championship.
There you go.
All right, boys. I will listen to you on the podcast.
All right, Jeremy. See you, man. 14.5.
I also want to mention, we have our buddies over at the Rogue Apothecary, the Rogue Shop. I'll bring up them. Actually, you bring them up real quick. I want to tell you about the Cyber Monday deal they're doing right now. This is a pretty impressive they got a 30% off deal going. Now, normally you get the Bulldogs 10. That gets you 10% off on anything from the Rogue Shop. If you have pain, if you have sleeping issues, you have stress, anxiety, they have the pain medications, stuff that I use for my knee, which my knee feels great now. This and stretching has been fantastic. They're full spectrum salve. Of course, I don't know who ate half a gummy. I got to figure out why there's a half gummy on top of these. The fun gummies that have over here. I don't know who did that.
Better talk to Miss Nabulsi.
The dog tinctures. Well, I have used the dog tincture. That stuff works phenomenal, especially if an old dog like mine. My girl Dancer, she loves the bacon flavored. But the sleep gummies have been out. That's what I use. That's the pain cream that I use on my knee. Their sleep gummies have been out, but they got them fixed. So the point being, normally you get 10% off with the Bulldogs 10 promo code. But if you use Cyber Monday, you get 30% off. So try any of the stuff and on the Rogue Shop, 30% off. The fun gummies, the Delta 8 to Delta 9, the THC ones, the sleep gummies, which are so good. People, if you can't sleep, you're having a hard time, get the sleep gummies. Now, here's the thing. With any of these that have THC in them, you will test positive. If your place of work tests you for THC, you will not pass a test. So do not take these if your workplace tests for such items. And I also recommend when you get any of the gummies, try a quarter of one, try a half one, wait 20, 30 minutes, see what happens before you just pop a whole one in your mouth. Okay?
Yes.
But again, I just want to mention right off the bat, because they normally, it's a 10% is the best you can do. And this is high quality stuff. The reason they were out of their sleep gummies for so long was because the production quality did not pass Richard's standards. Okay. That's just him. He's like, no, this isn't good enough. So, but they had sleep gummies back in stock, and now you get 30% off. So if you've been on the edge, I'm not sure, 10%, 30% off, do it. Use promo code Cyber Monday.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bring on Eddie.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful. Oh, Eddie. What's
Frightful
going on, man?
That bug, Jesus.
Where are you taking me for my steak, Eddie?
Well, hey, boys. Happy Thanksgiving to the two of you. Hope y'all had a good holiday.
Where's my steak?
Yeah, I know. Just right off the bat, right off the turnbuckle, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the way I look at it, Paul, is my son brought home a paper the other day, and it was 89.75, and the teacher gave him an A. So I'm 39.75, so that's 40. So I win the bet.
Hold on. Is that what it is? Is it 39.75?
Yeah. I did the math.
Oh no, there's no rounding up here, bud. You said 40.
I did. I'll take my loss, but that's how close it was.
Oh man, so you finished out at 39.75. Holy cow.
I just get him a hamburger then.
That's
for those of you guys that don't know what we're talking about, Eddie and I in the off season, Eddie said Georgia would score over 40 points a game. I said, no way, Jose. And Eddie said, let's bet a stake on it. Or I might have said, let's bet a stake on it. We did. And it all came down to this final game here. Eddie needed 58 points. They scored 36. And Georgia finished with 39.75 points per game. That's tough, Eddie. That's tough.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. You know what? Here's the way I look at it, guys. If y'all had told me 2 years ago that Georgia would go back-to-back years 12-0, I would have cut out my left testicle with a butter knife to have. You guys would have too. You would have done the exact same thing. That's where we are.
I'm going to use a sharper knife.
Well, no, that's the point, Roddy. You don't use a sharper knife.
Oh, God.
We would have all taken that 100 days, right? I mean, 100,000 times over. So that's where we are. It's unbelievable where we are right now.
Yeah. I mean, I know I asked you last week, Eddie, you said you weren't concerned about Kentucky. It was 16-6. You said, the one thing I'll look back on when we win the second national title is this win over Kentucky. But then they came out slow against Tech. Does this still doesn't bother you at all? Doesn't affect you? You're still moving forward? Any skepticism at all, please? Just a little bit?
Yeah, today bothered me. It bothered me more than last week. Yeah, it bothered me more than last week for sure. I mean, Kentucky on the road is a different deal than Georgia Tech in our house. Okay,
with an interim HC.
That's right. And in the first quarter, they were doing whatever they wanted. They were mowing us at the line of scrimmage. They were taking chunk plays, and that drive was very concerning. Now, they did 75 yards there in that drive, and then the rest of I don't know, most of the game, they had like 150 yards total after that. I understand we buttoned it up, but it was just sloppy. I mean, it was gross. It was just not pleasing at all today. And I'll just maintain this. I think it's the previous guy, not the last guy, the guy before him said, and I'll agree with him. I think the past 2 weeks have been as vanilla as you can do. And Radi, I think you kind of alluded to that a little bit in what Coach was saying. He called everything that was happening. So I think that leads into how vanilla things really were. It's just
he's also really good.
What's that?
He's also really good at knowing what's coming.
No, I know. I'm not knocking Coach.
I'm just saying, but I don't want the fact that he predicted it to be evidence of it, because there's other times when they're doing really wild stuff and he's like, okay, this is going to be a fake toss sweep here. He's going to roll out and hit Aaron Smith down the edge. And they're like, that's a complicated, wild play out of somebody pulled out of the button. That's exactly what they do. And I'm like, how the hell did you know that? So, But to your point, yeah. I mean, did you see anything that was unusual? Anything that was, how many times does Stetson roll out? We know he's better when he rolls out, but they weren't getting a lot of pressure on him. He had a lot of time back there.
I will say this: Stetson scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to bitch about the refs because that's what losers
I do all the time, every week.
That was horrible. The refs were absolutely atrocious today. They were both. You could see the football across the plane both times. No touchdown. No touchdown. I mean, that was atrocious. That was just horrible.
And then they gave it to him, like I said earlier on the show, they gave it to him on the Bowers one, which I thought was the worst of them all.
That's right.
I thought it was the worst of them all. They're like, yeah, it's a touchdown, let it stand.
Well, I think they're like, dude, if we call 3, they might kill us.
Yeah, we might not get out of here.
I mean, they never get intimidated, but that was bad. I mean, I still believe Aaron Smith had his. I believe that Stetson scored. And I wish they would have reviewed the one where he got spun down at the line and kind of threw the ball out this way.
That's the one I was talking about. He scored twice. That was the second one.
Yeah.
It was in. Absolutely.
Like, you're not even going to review that one?
I know. That was stupid.
So, what did you think about Hot Pod today? 30-yard field goal, 50-yard field goal, 36-yard field goal, 4 extra points. I mean, we talked about him at the beginning of the season, right? I know, Radi, you did. You talked about it. You were like, hey, I don't know about this kicking game. Like, I've heard
dude, everything we heard in spring practice was the kicking was garbage.
Right. And
first scrimmage, they couldn't hit him.
And then I think if I'm correct, I think he missed a couple beginning of the season, and we were all like, what? And then now he's automatic now. Kids
24, 26 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean
22, 24. He's only missed 2.
And we may not be 12-0 if Hot Pod misses a few kicks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, his toughest kick of the year was last week going into halftime at Kentucky. Mm-hmm. The wind gusts in that stadium were sideways. And I mentioned it on the Tuesday show that I'm in the end zone taking pictures with a lens. And when you can feel the wind, you have one of these biggest lenses, and the wind is pushing it sideways because, it's heavy. And you're like, wow, these gusts are nuts. And that's right as he goes to kick it. And you see the signs of the cheerleaders and their megaphones are going trembling across the end zone. He's like, you got to kick to this. And he's basically having to aim to the outside of the uprights to let it curve back in. I'm like, holy shit. And he nailed it. So last week, SEC co-special teams player of the week.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it outright this week.
Yeah.
That's my point. I mean, this is a big game for him. It's not very often that you get 3 field goals. But that just brings up another problem, guys. Why are you kicking so many damn field goals? And I go to 2 of those drives because you committed an offensive penalty.
Yep.
You're putting yourselves behind the chains. We have people in the comment section going, when Georgia hits on all cylinders, you could have a South Carolina game. You could have an Oregon game. Why do they keep killing themselves with penalties from guys that should know better? And why do they have sometimes just head-scratching personnel decisions? I don't know.
Yeah, well, at least today it wasn't the turnovers; it was the penalties. Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing, right? But I mean,
But even then, you still didn't win the turnover battle. When's the last time they did? They're -2 on the season.
2-1. Was it 2-1? I can't remember.
No, today it was tied. It was tied.
1-1.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time they won the turnover battle. I'm not a statistician. I can't look that up either. I don't know how to look that up.
Didn't you give like 3 to Florida or something like that?
But yeah, it's been
We've been behind the 8 ball like 4 games in a row. I think.
Yeah, four or five now. Yeah.
Yeah, no turnovers for like the first 3 or 4 games, and then
Right.
and
I said that to you guys, and you guys both yelled at me when I said that.
Whoa,
So you ruined it.
It was me.
Whoa.
It was me.
Damn jinx.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, it's my fault. Georgia started turning the ball over, guys.
Apparently.
They listen to you. They listen to the show. They're like, man, that Eddie from Ackworth guy, you know.
Hey, I want to, if we can jump way ahead to the part where we give out the helmet stickers, I want to give out a helmet sticker right now to Dumas Johnson for dropping his head, putting it on the ball, and causing that fumble with the Georgia Tech player. I mean, he just came through there like a torpedo and knocked that ball free. And I'm just saying that was a heads-up play. But, you know, if to see that the 10 on the jersey and come through and knock it down, if you're going to give out any helmet decorations, any helmet stickers, there should be a white bone on the back of that helmet for the fumble that he caused, because that was big time. That just killed their momentum and gave Georgia another 3 points.
And I guarantee, Radi, when y'all interview him, he will say he didn't play that well.
Oh, I know.
That's the way he is.
What he said Monday.
I know. He would continue saying that.
I didn't play that good. I know he'll probably smile at that one though. He's a funny guy.
So I think if we're getting, like we said, we haven't done this with the rest of the guests, but we'll do it with Eddie and anybody moving forward. 2 helmet stickers. So I'll take Hot Pod and Kenny Mack. I think those are easy. Those are easy there. You got anybody else, Eddie, besides that needs to come out?
I'll take Kenny Mack and Smile Munden.
I love Munden.
Again, Munden is all over the place.
Yeah. Like you said, lead the team in tackles. We never talk about the defensive stats until later on in the show, but you're right. Munden led the team in tackles with 6, followed by Ringo and Pop with 5. Oh, Tyke, what?
Tyke Smith was everywhere when he finally got in. Dude, that's only like a half of the play.
Hold on. Tyke Smith had 5 tackles, 3 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 1.5 tackles for loss?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the sack, though.
What?
Oh, I do now. Yeah, okay.
I did have to leave. I was watching at my mom's house, and I had to leave with like 2 minutes left. So did it happen in that time frame?
Yes.
Was it like, okay.
Why are you so surprised? Tyke's a ball player.
Oh, I love Tyke. Don't get me wrong.
Remember when they ran Javon Bullard? He had those back-to-back sacks. It's kind of the same concept.
Okay. I'm huge on Tyke. I've said it. Everett coming through with 4 tackles. Starks with 4 tackles. Last year, Bullard and Smith all registered 3, and so did Robert Beal. Today, you had 4 sacks, though. You had 1 by Big Bear, which they gave him that sack. And you had a half sack for MJ Sherman and Michael Williams. So they gave half of that to – I thought that was a full sack for Michael, but they gave half of it to MJ officially. And then the other one, Marvin Jones Jr. So you had those 3 sacks back to back to back, and then you had the Tyke Smith one. So 4 sacks today, something that we're not used to seeing from this Georgia defense. And I don't know if you can rely on Marvin Jones Jr. in front of Marvin Jones Jr., Bear Alexander, and Michael Williams in like any games moving forward, right? This year at least. But man, that front's going to be nasty when, next year, when you can really put those guys in, because it looked completely different than it does with Zion Logue, Stackhouse, and Tramel Walther. It looked completely different.
Were those 4 sacks in the second half?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say in the first half, it was very frustrating. It just seemed like we were getting 0 pressure on those quarterbacks, and they kept rotating them in. And they had all day to throw the ball. They could do whatever they wanted, and it showed.
There was a threat of the run in the second half. You're up, 4 scores, so they got to throw it. So you just it's a lot easier.
Well, and Roddy, they were gashing us too. They would hand the ball off and get 8, 9, 10 10 yards a clip.
It's like don't send pressure when you can't stop the run.
You also, with Stackhouse, Logue, and Walther, those aren't really pass rush guys. They're just bodies. Like they don't get to the quarterback. They don't have that instinct like Marvin Jones Jr. or Michael does. or even Bear for
There's
that.
different positions. You got control versus pressure.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Did,
Yeah.
Did the Nolan Smith injury show up a little bit today?
God,
It's been showing up, Eddie.
Today it may have reared its. Well, okay, fair.
I think it reared its ugly head last week, and then it really showed it today. Yeah,
it showed up the minute he left the game.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I agree with you, Roddy. I'm just saying today.
I'm saying the next play when he left the game, they went right at his spot.
Yeah.
Which is the smart thing to do. I don't even remember who that was.
One of you guys said, maybe it was Chip Tower, said that last year, we lost Adam Anderson, we just moved on. This year, we lose Nolan Smith, we just move on. Nolan Smith's a different cat.
I don't know who said that, but whoever it was, that was stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't like anybody on the beat stupid, but
he was just making a comment, Roddy. I don't think he was comparing the two. He was just kind of saying we roll next man in, but Nolan Smith's different. He's different.
No, so let's think last year, who replaced Adam Anderson when he went out?
Wasn't it Trayvon, right?
They can move Trayvon Walker out there. You can put more Nolan Smith in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and you're going to replace Nolan with Robert Beal or Chaz Chambliss, or MJ Sherman.
Yeah.
I wish Darius was out there. Let Darius Smith do what he can do.
Yeah. Again, a young guy. Like, you look at this defense now. If Kirby can win a national title with this defense.
Yeah. Kirby just went 12-0 with this defense.
Yeah, he did. I mean, and then you have, like I just touched on, you got Jalen Walker as well. You have what's his name? We were just talking about him. Michael Williams, Martin Jones Jr., Barrett Alexander. You've got so many young cats, man. Everett. And these are just freshmen.
5 quarters you barely saw today.
Yeah. We've got Singletary, who we haven't really seen all year. You saw Julio Humphrey in there today a little bit.
Yeah, I saw him get burned.
Yeah, you saw him get burned. But Malachi Starks starting as a true freshman. I mean, all these guys, it's just such a young defense that next year it's going to be absolutely insane. And you're losing a guy like Jalen Carter. You've got to replace that. But
they don't have a replacement for him.
No, and it's hard, right? It's hard. They didn't have a replacement for Jordan Davis either, though. So it's hard. You don't get those guys very often, but you hope that Bear Alexander is your next Jordan Davis, and you keep moving it down the line. But it's insane that he can go 12-0 with this defense, with how many young guys should be playing and will be so much better than right now.
All right, so I'll look ahead. LSU's watching this game today, and they watched this game. What are their thoughts? Yeah. What are they thinking now going into next week?
Let's see. How many yards does Jaden Daniels have on the ground? Let me look that up. Statistics. Okay.
By the way, you guys just overlooked the rushing quarterbacks you mentioned. You didn't even mention Hendon Hooker. He's a rushing quarterback. Huh? What do you mean?
Meh.
Okay. Well, you just went right by him.
Jaden Daniels, though, 740 yards, 5 yards a carry, 11 touchdowns on the ground. So I would be looking to run it to whichever side of the ball Robert Beal's not on, and the spot that Nolan Smith would occupy. That's where I would go with this. Damn, that's going to be tough.
When you have really Smile London standing there waiting on him.
That's exactly. So maybe can you again, this is the SEC championship, right? You don't want to start throwing out some crazy stuff, but maybe put Jalen Walker in there a little bit more and have Smile in there as well. I don't know if the Robert Beal and Chaz Chambliss are the answers on the outside against a guy that averages 5 yards a carry, 11 touchdowns, and 750 yards at quarterback.
Yeah, but Jaden Daniels is not very accurate. He's got
of course.
big legs, but he's not accurate.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. What does this say? Keith Simmons says, I disagree about D-line play for next year. We don't have a Jalen Carter. We have some decent linemen and some up and coming, but these freshmen need more experience. Nah, man. Next year they're ready to go. They're ready to go. They're ready to bust free. Yeah, that's what I'd say, Roddy. You got to find a way to stop Jaden Daniels from running the ball. What say you?
Sniper.
No, you can't snipe the kid. Okay, so
I'm just saying there's no way to stop him. He's really good at this. And that split zone they run, where basically you're just making a read, and if he sees sees your linebacker coming after you, he's like, okay, I'm gonna hand it off. They run to the opposite side. There's blockers. It's successful. If if the guy crashes, then he keeps it and runs around, and hell, he's 15 yards down the field before you stop him. It is a tough play to stop. Our guy Brent Rollins did a great draw up of it on X's and foes. He's like, this is what Georgia should run when they get down the goal line. They didn't do it. Georgia had to kick 9 field goals. 9 points worth of field goals. Just don't say. And again, some of that was just penalties and some of it was other stuff. I get that. And sometimes you just don't have the room to run it, or you don't have the it doesn't fit there. But that guy's going to run it to death. He makes good decisions, and they're just getting better and better. So
they are. But you know what? You say all that, Roddy. I just can't get past LSU getting smashed at home by Tennessee. Smashed. And that does
40-13.
That does not happen to LSU. Okay, and it did. So
do you think it would happen again today, though?
What?
Do you think if they played tomorrow, it would happen again?
Maybe not smash, but I still think Tennessee beats them.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't.
Absolutely. Not as currently constructed. I mean, if Hooker's healthy and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, if Hooker's healthy, they play again tomorrow. I think LSU wins that game.
Yeah, I think so too.
You can have an off game. Hey, Georgia had an off game against Missouri. Remember that? Hell, they had an off game against Kent State.
40-13.
They won. They won.
They did. But I'm just saying, it was you can have a situation where a team with as deep as Georgia is pulls those games out.
Right.
LSU didn't have it, but also this is Kelly's first year, so they have a lot to learn. Kirby's got this thing running year 7 like a well-oiled machine. Again, Georgia never ever in its history back-to-back undefeated seasons. I don't remember the last team to do that. Somebody in the comments tell me what the last other team to have back-to-back.
It has to be a Bama team, right? Has to be, I would think.
But
Hendon Hooker this year, Eddie, 430 yards on the ground. Not there.
Okay.
No, I think Stetson might have more on the ground than him. Let me look. Would you consider Stetson Bennett a running quarterback?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's see.
I wish he'd run more, frankly.
Wow.
Yeah. If he'd kept it a few times in this game,
Yes.
When they roll him out, instead of making him be a pocket passer, he's more effective.
Absolutely.
Numerous times when he was doing those RPOs and stuff, when he faked the run, a couple times he pulled a defender with him, or at least pulled their eyes. Other times they just ignored him. And if he'd kept it,
yeah.
I go back to the in the Kentucky game when he wouldn't do it last week. A couple times in the Mississippi State game, I'm like, man, you've got this capability of just keep it one time. So, and not just because they sent a corner blitz that you picked up late and had to scramble for your life.
Yeah.
But it designed quarterback keep.
How about this though? I thought he had a lot. How many rushing yards do you think Stetson Bennett has this year? Total.
350.
Roddy?
200.
169.
That's all?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. 7 touchdowns, though. 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, but they do the thing where when he gets sacked, they take him away.
It has to be because, I mean, there's no way he's only rushed for 169 yards.
Also, a long touchdown.
Yeah, he's got the 64-yard touchdown. I don't know. It says 40 attempts, 169 yards, 7 touchdowns. Here's what's crazy, too. 3,000 yards for Stetson, only 14 touchdowns through the air compared to 29 last year, which is a little mind-boggling as well. But he's only been sacked 7 times this year. So,
yeah, and I'm with you, Roddy. I think he can see. Obviously, he can see better when he rolls out, right? I mean, he's not that big. Let's be honest. He's not that tall. When he rolls out, he can see better. So I'm with you. I wish they'd roll him. I wish they'd have rolled him out more today. You're right. Absolutely.
I just think a lot can happen over there because there's always the possibility that if nothing opens up, he can just keep it.
Is there any chance Michigan jumps us to number 1?
No.
Ooh.
I'm just asking.
No, I mean, it's a good question. They have a high-profile win on their docket.
Do they? I think they get some first-place votes. I definitely think they get some first-place votes.
No, very convincing win considering they played nobody.
They made Ohio State look stupid today. I mean, they blasted them.
Oh, I was all over Ohio State. I was like, Ohio State's gonna. I thought it was gonna be the exact opposite outcome.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, Ohio State's gonna run through this. Man, that's tough. I think they get some first place votes. They definitely go into second.
I don't think going from 3-1 is realistic though. And Georgia's been 1 for a long time now. 3-1's a big jump. That's why I don't.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't know why we had this banner going right now. I don't know what I said. But
I thought that game was going to go completely different.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah, you are. You're right. I was wrong on that. Very wrong on that. Glad I didn't put any money on that. Let's see. What's the Final Four look like after this week? Going into, does LSU jump up to 4?
Well, we got to see what happens tonight. I mean,
we're still waiting on that USC game.
Yeah. Okay, Eddie, tonight?
Well, the big question: how far does Ohio State drop?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we do know that. Yeah, we know that. How far can they drop? Who? Out of the top 4, right?
Oh yeah. Well, depending on what happens.
But here's the thing: LSU is your 5th team, and they've got 2 losses.
Yeah, right. That's why I think Ohio State goes to 5 and they move back LSU to 6. That's what I think.
So then USC jumps and goes to 4?
Yes. Well, I mean, provided they beat Notre Dame, right?
Sure.
So let's just say TCU, which is, I think that game may be over. TCU is going to win. USC wins. It's Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and
USC,
right. And then I think 5th is Ohio State. LSU's got 2 losses.
I'll tell you, yeah, you can't. I'll tell you what, though, if I was Kirby Smart, I would want somehow if USC is going to get in, I want to play them in the national championship game, not in the first game. I want TCU so bad in that first game. I would want TCU.
Does it really matter, Paul? I mean,
USC is good. Caleb Williams is really good.
Probably your Heisman winner.
Yeah, Caleb Williams is damn good. Like, really good. Really, really good.
Do you want to play USC in LA for the title?
That sounds terrible. But they don't have that many fans. So
that's true.
In LA for a title, they do. Also, those people haven't gone to games for 30 years.
That's right. A bunch of front runners.
Reggie Bush. All of a sudden,
exactly
right. Yeah. Let me dig out that USC jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. So yeah, I guess you'd have to play USC. You'd want to play
them coming all the way across town, and then you want to play TCU for the title.
That would be such a boring ass game. Oh my god, that would be so boring.
Okay, that's what we thought about Georgia Tech.
True. Yeah, we had a game for 40 minutes at least, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. What are folks in the comments saying? We've got Amari saying UGA, Michigan, TCU, USC, so the same as Eddie. Let's see.
Yeah, but where is Ohio State? That's the question.
Wallace Smith says, I think the Ohio State will drop to 5th or 6th. Let's see. Do the Dogs have the active home win streak at 18? I think so. Yeah. I know that their active home win streak is 18. I think it might be the highest is what you're asking, John. I would think it might be. Let's see. Wallace says, but U.S. defense isn't good. TCU is going to move up from Barry Watkins. John Goodrich says, I want USC. We owe them. We are 0-3. Georgia's played USC 3 times?
Yeah, I mean, over the history, absolutely.
Huh.
I mean, Dave can look it up. But speaking of like the records and stuff like that, there's something else I was looking up here. Georgia has tied the school record for consecutive sellouts with 64, matching the mark through set from September 1st, 2001 to September 10th, 2011.
I want to go back to this. John Goodrich says, I want USC. We owe them. We are 0-3. John, those games happened in 1931, 1933, and 1960.
Yeah, we owe them big time.
We owe them big time.
That 1960 game is still in my craw, buddy.
The 1931 one when we lost 60-0, and then came back around in 1933 and lost 31-0. Still chaps my ass to this day, John.
It's 91-0, man. Come on.
Were they even wearing helmets then?
I don't think so. So here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. You've only scored 3 points, so it's and the last one was 10-3. So 91. I'm not good at math. 101-3 is your score against USC right now.
That's funny though.
That's wild. How do you?
That's actually a funny comment by John.
That is very. Yeah, I'm not trying to bust balls, John. That's actually really funny that you said that we owed him.
There's not a lot of teams that Georgia has a losing record against, but that is one.
Brett said 62 years of frustration.
I love it.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, I don't know how you look that up. That's awesome. And then John says got outscored 101-3. You're right. You're right.
And I want to point out something else. Georgia's now gone undefeated at home for the 5th time under Kirby Smart.
Wow. 5 out of 7, eh?
No,
it's not bad.
What was the last loss? South Carolina?
Yeah.
Has to be, right? Yeah.
Yeah. How about South Carolina today, boys?
How about that?
I mean,
I'm glad we're not playing them. I'm not glad we're not playing them right now.
Poor Dabo. Remember, we were talking about a week ago, Friday. Why no love for the ACC in the playoff rankings? North Carolina and Clemson both have 1 loss.
Yeah, I said
the winner there could.
I did.
With the ACC title could go right into the. Why is nobody respecting them? Give the college football playoff committee credit for going screw the ACC. They're playing terrible football over there. And then Tech beats ranked North Carolina, and then Clemson loses to South Carolina today.
Maybe it. Did you guys hear the rumors that Dabo's agent apparently reached out to Auburn about their head coaching gig? Believe that? I don't know if I believe it, but that's the rumors, right?
Why would he do that?
Isn't he making like $10 million a year anyway?
Yeah, but I don't know how much more money you can get. Apparently, Auburn's set on Hugh Freeze, though. I don't know who called that. It wasn't me, but that sounds terrible. So congrats to Auburn on another unsuccessful hire, I think. Let's see here. Andy Adams says, Chip Long was super smart and prepared to target Ringo directly and indirectly all day long, wasn't he? What about your boy Ringo, Eddie? What happened to him today?
I was going to ask you guys that. I don't know. Ringo, I love the kid. He makes an incredible play, and then the next play you're like, what the heck was that? It's inconsistent, right? Is that the right term for it?
Yeah, and it's also, like I said on last week's show, Kirby puts his corners out on an island, right? And
sure he does, yes.
And he doesn't expect them to be perfect. But at the same time, there was a couple plays from Ringo today. I expect 1 or 2, but there was like 4, 3, 4, 5 that you were just like, damn, man. That's not what you want. So I asked another caller. So you got Keyshawn Boutte down there at LSU. Who would you rather have on him, Ringo or Lassiter, going into this game?
I think I put Lassiter on him because he's more physical.
Yeah, and that's crazy because we're talking about a guy who is literally locked in on most draft boards as the top 10 pick, and Ringo.
Yeah.
I'll stick with Ringo on Boutte.
Why?
I'm just curious.
Physical. Well, we saw this. We called one of those passes right off the line. You had a guy playing press coverage man-to-man, and he just barely tapped him as he went by. Kamari's been beat on that a few times. If you want to play press coverage and man-to-man, get in the guy's face, give me Keely Ringo. He's a big body out there. If he can turn it on, he can knock down passes. He gets beat sometimes, but they all do.
You think he's more physical than Kamari then? Opposite of what I said? Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm thinking Kamari, the physicalness isn't the tackling because he is more physical.
He tackles well, but I mean, when you're kind of going back and forth there. Now, here's the thing. If I'm an opposing offensive coordinator, I'm not going to not throw to his side because he gets a lot of PI calls, gets a lot of personal pass interference calls. He gets defensive holding calls, but he also, he gets interceptions and he makes big plays.
You guys asked, why would Dabo want to do that? Brittany Ivory says, Dabo wants some real football. That's why he wants to go over to Auburn.
Well, let me explain something about the way these things work, because I think a lot of this had to do with the whole Hugh Freeze and Lane Kiffin going to Auburn. If you represent Lane Kiffin, your name's Jimmy Sexton, you represent about 75% of the SEC coaches. The best thing you can do is have someone saying, so-and-so has been identified to go to a job opening X. Well, your current employers start to sweat, especially if you're doing really well. Yep. So what do? They give you a raise. Also, you saw these open coaching positions pop up, midway through the season. Like 12 different schools had openings or something. What did Missouri do? They signed Drinkwitz to an extension.
Yep.
It's like, what are you doing mid-season doing this? Try to keep him from going somewhere else. Point being, and Jimmy Sexton was at that Ole Miss game last night. On Thursday night for Mississippi State. Being a reporter, I can tell you, we get tips all the time. And a lot of times you can tell the tip has been put out there by an agent, by somebody in their camp. We saw the whole thing with Eddie Gran coming down from Kentucky to Georgia. Mm-hmm. He came down, interviewed with Kirby. Kirby offered him a tight ends position, tight ends coach. He was the current Kentucky offensive coordinator. Kirby's like, I've got an open offensive coordinator spot, but I also have an open tight end spot. I would hire you as my tight ends coach. Eddie Grand and his group let everybody know that, I was interviewing with Kirby. He's got an open coordinator spot. And they got out that he had offered it to him. Then Eddie Grand turns it down for a big contract extension raise at the school that he's at. So point being, when you hear these things pop up, so-and-so like Dabo's talking to Auburn, if I'm Dabo's agent, I am personally calling every reporter in, the upstate area, in the whole all of South Carolina, going, I'm just letting you know, Auburn's sniffing around him, so that Clemson has to pony up and give him whatever he wants to keep him. So even though there's not anything, and then it just dissipates like smoke, kind of like Lane Kiffin to Lane Kiffin to Auburn.
I'm glad we don't have those problems. All right, I'm gonna get off here, but I'm gonna leave you guys with one question: can Alabama get back in the playoffs?
Whew. Man,
muscle memory, man, muscle memory.
They're up 35-14 right now, and they don't look like they're going to stop. They're gonna lay the wood tonight on Auburn.
They're ranked 7. Can they move ahead? They got 2 losses.
Some crazy things got to happen, but let's say USC ends up with 1 loss. They win the Pac-12. TCU loses. No, they're going to win tonight. Let's say, I don't know, Michigan loses the Big 12. Could happen. Is Alabama right? They're right there.
I just don't know. With 2 losses, you're going to have a 1-loss Ohio State, 1 loss Michigan if they lose. Yeah. I don't see
still
it.
Alabama. It's out. We didn't think
if you're going to have a 2-loss team, you got a 2-loss LSU team.
Yeah.
But at least they are division winners. Alabama won't be a division winner. And that's why everyone's talking about, Ohio State and Michigan getting right back in it. Whoever lost, I'm like, the loser of that game is not a conference winner. They're not a division winner. So even though they only have the 1 loss, if Clemson had been able to hang on, and win out, you at least could say, hey, we have a 1-loss ACC champion. That person needs to get in over your 1-loss division runner-up Ohio State. But, Clemson losing does wonders for Ohio State's chances of getting back in there. Yeah, I don't think it does enough for a 2-loss non-division winning Alabama, even though they'll be close. I can see them getting, 6 or something like that. Maybe if all craziness happens, they get 5. And I kind of jokingly say that the committee is just so used to penciling them in, they give them the benefit of the doubt. But I just don't see it. At some point, you have to say, look, conference champion. Think about it. You have 4 spots. You have 5 conferences. You got to get your, 1 conference is already going to be on the outside. If you bring in a second team from like the SEC or the Big 10, Big 12, whoever, now you got 2 conferences that are out who are pissed off. We've seen that happen a couple of times when the SEC gets 2 teams in. The other conference presidents are like, this is BS.
Yeah.
Do you think
the committee's finally fed up with the SEC, though? And they're just –
it's not – the committee's hearing so much anti-SEC.
Yeah, I think so, too.
propaganda.
If you have a one-loss USC and a one-loss TCU or whoever, I mean, you want to get as many conferences in on this one as you can.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect year to leave Alabama out because they have 2 losses. You can justify it 100% and don't have to worry about any kickback from Bama. That and you can get in other conferences because, like Radi said, it's too much now.
I don't understand, man. I was just posing the question, and by no means, if we had to play them, bring them on. I mean, who cares? They don't even scare me this year at all. So, whatever. All right, boys, I'm gonna log off.
All right.
See you, Eddie.
Where are we eating?
Hey, man, you pick. It's your money.
Bones.
Really? All right. Well, I told you Waffle House then. I mean, they got a good steak.
Sounds good.
It's funny that Eddie says that. I remember seeing a thing not too long ago that like one of the number one places to serve steak is Waffle House. They serve more steak than anybody else in the nation.
Yep.
I've never had
steak
one.
and eggs. Steak and eggs. That's it. Yeah.
I've had them. They're good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll be having one soon. I guess.
Thank you, boys.
See you, Eddie.
Man. You got to hold out for Bones over there across from Fago de Chao. I can never say it.
Fogo de Chao. Or they say it different, but Georgia National Championship 2021 says, Paul, why were you nervous about Ohio State? They're soft. Georgia would physically dominate them on both sides of the scrimmage. Yeah, but they also had some really good wide receivers. That's why I was worried.
And we saw, I mean, if you go back last year, South Carolina's van had 200 yards receiving on Georgia and Georgia was struggling against Alabama when they had their 2 good wide receivers in there. But then they lost their 2 wide receivers. All of a sudden, Georgia takes off. Top-end wide receivers are a anathema to this Georgia defense. Okay, so facing Marvin Harrison Jr., you saw the plays he had today. He's
Emeka Iboku, or however you say his name.
Yeah, that's
Julian Fleming. If they get in Smith, Jackson, Smith, and Jigba back, I mean, they got some boys. Apparently, Matthew Cotton said Anthony Bourdain liked the steak at Waffle House. So, R.I.P. to Anthony Bourdain. But if he likes it, then I'd like it too. John Goodrich says Eddie Carson Beck screwed you. Nah, Eddie needed 58. We did the total. He needed 22 more points. He needed 58. Sure? Yes, 1,000% sure. 1,000%. We did the math.
He did screw over everybody that took Georgia in the points.
Yes. Yes.
Georgia could have, if they had punched that one in for a touchdown, they would have covered.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think because where were they at when he fumbled that?
Like midfield.
Let's see. Was that? Hold on. It says fumble right here in the third quarter. He fumbled it? No, he fumbled in the fourth
quarter, dude.
So yeah, why are they? It's not showing. Okay, here it is. 8 minutes left. They fumbled it with 5:51 left. There it is. The fumble. They were on the 49. They got down 14. You think they were going for a touchdown?
That sounds like midfield to me.
Yeah. You think they were going for a touchdown there?
Yeah. Dude, they were moving the ball at will, pretty much.
So then it would have been 42-7. That would have pushed unless you got like a 34.5 ticket somewhere. I think most tickets were 35. So you at least would have pushed.
Yeah.
That's tough.
What I'm saying.
It's also crazy how Vegas knows that, Roddy. I think they're from the future because had you told me at halftime that this game would have come down to a Carson Beck fumble for this game to be a push at 35, I'd be like, you're out of your mind.
Dude, you imagine the odds you could have got if you were betting the second half?
Well, I saw it, so I looked it up, right? Because I am a gambling man, okay? So
incorrigible, diehard freaking gambler. Okay.
Yeah, so I did look this up, and I almost took it. The odds at the half were Georgia second half, Georgia minus 16.5. So they obviously covered that, but whatever, here nor there.
See, Eric Oda made some money.
First time I ever bet against Georgia. Spread was 36.5. There you go, Eric. It's always weird betting against your teams, right? Like I don't bet against the Braves. I don't bet
idea.
No, no.
Georgia doesn't cover a lot, so trend wise, it's smart. Second wise, let's say for some reason you lose the game. Well, at least you collect a bunch of monny on the back end.
Yeah, but you're also kind of, because there's this point, right, where you're like, oh, I want my money more than this win.
No, it's called buying the win.
It's not fun though. It's not that fun.
You put $50, you take the opposition and the points or whatever, and then if they win, well, hey, at least you made your money, you made something, and go get a couple Waffle House steaks.
So you're the guy at the party where everybody's pissed off, but then you're a little smiling. You're smiling a little bit.
Smiling. You're just like, hey, it takes a little sting out of it. At least it's not all bad. And here's the thing: if you want to do parlays, I tell people to do this all the time. Every week, because it'll hit at one point, you bet Tennessee to cover, you bet Florida to cover, you bet Auburn to cover, you bet Georgia not to, because there's always one week where Georgia struggles and all your opponents do really well. It happens once a year. It's guaranteed. So put your $20 on a 5-team parlay, a tech, add them in there, and it'll happen. So
I see where Jeff's coming from here. He says taking 36.5 isn't cheering against your team, just cheering for them to win by 36. Which is fair, right? When it gets up that high, when it gets, okay. Yeah. When it gets up that high, you're already winning the game comfortably. You would like it if they just ran the ball. I get it. I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Eric's better than I was. I just remember the bunch of them, the times of not making the spread. But 8-4, that's 2/3. That's pretty good. Yeah. But Eric was also the one that didn't take him to this game. When I saw 35, I'm like, it's ridiculous. Georgia just scored 16 points in the cold.
Jeez, John. John said it's like cheating on your wife. It's okay as long as no one finds out. Dear God. John,
so we need to have a discussion with John there. If no one finds out. But what if you're liking, and I need to ask him this, if you're liking some hot girls' Instagram pics?
Are you asking for yourself here?
No, not at all. I may not need that defense, John. John, where'd you go, John?
John, come back, John. While we're looking for John, let's get in our last sponsor here. We got the 7-6. And guys, I got this cool ass shirt on. It says "To hell with tech," and you're wondering where's that come from? That was on the back of Irk Russell's shirt back in the day. He wrote that on there himself, I'm pretty sure. And there's these comments. I can't read these comments.
I love the I hate tech one.
Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, right there. The I hate tech shirt coming in. Who is that there, Roddy?
That is Dan McGill.
Dan McGill, the man, the myth, the legend.
Greatest Georgia Bulldog of all time.
The man, the myth, the legend. There you also have.
So I love the hat, love the glasses.
I love this, the GATA, where the GATA is in the mask there, the face mask.
That should be a Quavon Hicks throwback.
Yeah, do you remember that? That was such a sick.
Dude, I'm still pissed off they wouldn't let Quavon wear that face mask.
He's like the last of a dying breed of fullbacks.
They're like, oh my God, somebody might break their finger off in there. Well, hell, if you put your fingers in his face mask, then you deserve to lose one.
Exactly. Guys, this belt here, it popped up again. Unbelievable belt. If you're looking for a belt, probably won't get to you by the SC Championship game, but if you want one for the playoffs, this is the belt to go with, guys. You want to look snazzy.
Hey, it's Christmas. Come on.
But guys, they have they've got a Cyber Monday sale going on right now that is actually better than what we can get you discount wise.
More than the 20%?
Yeah, it's more than the 20%. So it is Friday 22. Friday 22 will get you 25% off of the all items. So it'll get you 25% off of all items, including the hoodies, everything else.
If it's 20%, that's what we do.
No, we're 20. This is 25%.
Oh, 25. Okay.
25. So Friday 22 will get you 25% off. Chance at 7-6 sent that to me, made sure so you guys could get that. So yeah, guys, get over there. They're fans of the team just like you are. It will take a little bit to get this merch shipped out to you, but it's well
you have
worth
to make it. It's not like Amazon where they just go and pull it out of a bin, pull out a small and stuff like that. A lot of stuff is designed by.
I set my DVR for The Biggest Loser, and it keeps recording Georgia Tech football games. There you go. Like I said, guys, they got some funny stuff over here. They've got some really cool stuff as well. They've got these Nike polos.
We like the black. The black polo.
Get over there. They've got the half quarter zip. I love this Sikkim hoodie. I think I'm actually getting one of those for SEC Championship. We'll have one. We'll have something like this, and then we'll have another shirt if they win. So we'll be promoting those live once we get after that game on Saturday against LSU. If they win, like I said, I'm going to the game, guys. So,
well, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
So we'll get in, despite the fact that they're going to lose the SEC championship because
I'll be in. Yeah. Andy Adams says, any significant injuries to report today? We hear anything on Marvin Jones Jr., Roddy? I know we've been doing this podcast, but curious as to if we got any updates on Marvin Jones Jr. I think he's the only one that I think went down today that would have any significance.
It looked pretty mild, He was kind of limping, and then I
don't know what it was. Was it his knee? I think he was holding his knee. Maybe he got a stinger on his knee.
He's just limping, and then they're like, "Look, take a knee. Let them come in and talk to you a little bit." So
yeah, it looked like he could have still gone out there, but we'll let you know, Andy. And as always, if you believe it or not, you get an injury report from Kirby Smart on Mondays. So I'll let you know.
Well, here's what he does. On Saturday, he says, I haven't talked to those guys because the game's just over, right?
Right.
And A.D. Mitchell could have gone back in there.
Man, that's crazy.
Could have gone in 9 weeks ago, Kirby. But then Saturday or Monday, when we interview him, they always do the press conferences before practice, which is Monday afternoon. So, Kirby, what's the latest on him? I haven't seen him today. I'll see him today at practice. So he can't really tell you a whole lot. Although you think between
he knows
Monday morning, he'd find something out.
Of course.
Then we don't get to talk to him after practice Monday when he would tell us. And then we don't get to talk to him before practice Tuesday. We only get to talk to him late after practice on Tuesday. So a lot of times we only find out what's happened with a guy until Tuesday afternoon. Now, here's the thing. That's the good point of being a member of UGAsports.com, because if you're a member of UGA Sports, you find out a lot of this stuff, and we will do everything in our power to get the latest. And we told folks that Arik Gilbert was not going to dress out, which is very interesting considering this is a non-conference game. You're not limited on the number of guys you can dress out. Arik Gilbert did not dress today. We also told them that A.D. Mitchell would dress out, but that he would not play. And that's exactly what happened. He dressed out. He did not play. They put him out there as a decoy.
He played. Your sources were wrong, Roddy. Your sources were wrong.
How many snaps did he get?
Roddy, your sources were wrong. No.
Name the number of snaps.
Roddy, your sources were wrong. That's what you're going to get.
Oh, I think they can do it, but I was correct. He didn't play at all.
Yeah, it's coming down already. There we go.
There
we go. Barry Watkins. A.D. Mitchell was on the field. This guy says, Roddy, hunker down, Brown. I don't know if you know him in real life or not, but
I'm just saying.
That's what we're going to say. No, but yeah.
So for some of these injury things, we don't really find out until technically Tuesday, and that's why you see me put out that annoying ass tweet. This confirms what we reported on Sunday, or we reported on Monday. Well, like the Tate Rattler thing, we reported it mid-game last week. Broke that from Kentucky while we were up there. Nobody knew why Tate Ratledge wasn't playing. We told him about the shoulder situation. It wasn't until afterwards that Kirby said, hey, he's got a shoulder subluxation. Bad shoulder. So the thing is, I'm using this as a commercial, and I know you guys are tired of me doing that, but they do have a Black Friday deal at UGAsports.com. Point being, if you, and they're even saying point being again, if you want to be a member of UGA Sports, you watch our show and you hear us talk about what we report, go to UGAsports.com, use promo code, I lost it here. It's just $22. Rivals 22, RIVALS 22. Use promo code Rivals 22 and you will get your first year. Now, this is only for new subscribers. This isn't for people who've been around a long time. This is for the new folks. That's Yahoo's rule. It's not my rule. If it was my rule, all our longtime subscribers would get the $22, and all the new people would have to pay $100. But it's normally $100 a year. You get it for $22. So you save 78% through Cyber Monday. Jump on that deal right now. And that's where you'll find out what the latest is on all these injuries. We break more injury news than anybody else. Hell, more than everybody combined. We have the latest. And we told you about two guys that we're not going to play today. And you wouldn't have known that if you were not a member of UGAsports.com. So we will find out what happened with Marvin Jones Jr., who I thought was having a pretty good game.
Yeah. Around the league before we get out of here, Oregon 28-10 right now over Oregon State. They were down in the first quarter. So feel bad for Oregon, man. I really thought they could be a playoff team had they not lost. I think they'd be right in the thick of things right now.
They would have been.
But Dan Lanning's doing a great job out there. Really doing a great job.
Year, man.
Yeah. TCU right now, 34-7 at halftime. So it doesn't look like TCU is going anywhere, folks.
Who
State,
they got?
they're playing Iowa State.
Okay.
Iowa State, yeah. Iowa State's 4-7. Remember when Matt Campbell, he's still there at Iowa State. Remember every year Matt Campbell was the name to move up, and somehow he's still at Iowa State, and wow, they're going to end up 4-8. It's funny how things like that work out. Speaking of a new guy in the block who got a big raise, Michigan State's down at halftime right now, 14-3 against Penn State. Michigan State trying to become bowl eligible. They're 5-6. Utah 42-0 at the half against Colorado. Colorado's 1-10, but apparently Colorado offered their job to Deion Sanders. So we'll see if that comes into. It's just such a terrible fit. But I'll tell you right now, the next place that hires Deion Sanders is going to turn their program around tremendously. But Colorado is not the place to do it. And then let's see here, Alabama. 6 minutes to go in the third, 42-21 over Auburn, who again, Auburn's trying to become bowl eligible. Kentucky 6-5. So they're beating Louisville right now, 26-13 in the fourth with 4 minutes to go. So they're going to finish 7-5. Did not expect Kentucky to go 7-5. Hold on. Anthony Spano. Don't worry, Paul. I'm wrapped up in some shiz. You're still wrong about something. Anthony, I miss you today, man. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Stop looking doorknobs, Anthony. You won't get COVID.
And then tonight, big game, USC Notre Dame. I'm not big on Notre Dame, but they have looked a lot better as of late. They can knock you.
We talk about it, it's only 10, 12 games, but these teams can play completely differently.
And they have. Notre Dame was really
not the same team that lost earlier in the season.
Yeah, I mean,
imagine
Notre Dame.
Imagine them taking on FSU again right now.
Oh, yeah. No chance. FSU should have lost last night to Florida. Some of the questionable calls there. You got LSU and Texas A&M. So if you want to get a jump start on your scouting report, 7 p.m. tonight, ESPN, you got LSU you can watch if you're not watching the USC Notre Dame game. And then here's one for you, Roddy. 7:30 tonight. It's going to be on SEC Network. But I think the Vanderbilt Commodores might go dancing tonight. They're 5-6. They're 5-6. They're going up against Tennessee, who's 9-2. Yes, the spread's 14, but this game's in Vandy. Vandy's hungry. They get this, they're going bowling.
I'm taking Tennessee in the points. Tennessee's going to bounce back from that humiliation.
I'm just saying that
humiliation from
they don't have Hendon Hooker. They don't have Hendon Hooker. I like Joe Milton, but that's one to keep your eye on. Don't watch the game, right? But it's one to keep an eye on the score. And then you round off with Kansas State, Kansas, Washington State tonight at 10:30 for you.
Watch those.
I'll watch. I'll watch it. It'll be in the background.
I'll put on that T-shirt. Nobody cares of the what's the name was talking about. BK was talking about the nobody cares shirt. Yeah, I'll put that one on.
But yeah, that's what you got left tonight.
I stopped watching Washington when Eason left. I'm like, okay, I'm done with them.
They got a kid that transferred from Indiana, that Michael Penix Jr. He's thrown for almost 4,000 yards and 26 touchdowns. And you know what sucks? I'm in a college fantasy football league, right, Roddy? I got invited to it last year, won it outright. This year, I'm in the championship game. My team's stacked. My team's so stacked. And right
who's
now,
running your league for you?
it is a guy of an old basketball coach of mine in high school invited me to it. So it's got old coaches that used to coach me. It's kind of weird. It's beating their ass every week. It's a little strange.
Yeah.
But right now I'm down 140-70. My team has put up over 120 points every week, except for this final week to where the money payout is. So for all you guys out there who are having fantasy football problems, I'm right there with you. So it sucks. John Goodrich says, take it easy, Paul. I never will. But I appreciate you. Roddy, what you want to wrap this game up with here? 36-14. What do we have to look forward to? What's some key things to move on as we get into this final week before the SEC championship game?
Do want to congratulate this team. I mean, yeah. I predicted before the season started they would go 12-0. I did not, and again, it's just based on the fact that a lot of the teams they were playing are terrible. I mean, they played some bad teams, but a lot of those teams got much better. South Carolina with back-to-back victories is pretty impressive. Kentucky, Tennessee was the darling. They were ranked number 1 when the first rankings came out. Kentucky was up and down throughout the season. This team faced some adversity. They also lost some key players. I didn't think it would be easy, but the fact that, they're still ranked number one, this is the golden age of Georgia football. I know we can all talk back to 1980 and the years of Vince Dooley, and, I want to give our best wishes to the Dooley family. They had the celebration of life last night. So they won this one for Coach Dooley. I appreciate that, and I love it. It's very appropriate. But objectively, Kirby Smart's been here, 7 years? He's played for a title. He's won a title, and he could be back to the playoffs again. That is, you have back-to-back. And again, this isn't those, Georgia's had some 4-0 seasons, undefeated, 3-0 seasons, 8-0 seasons. This is a 12-0 season back-to-back. I don't care who you're playing. Just like when they do 7-on-7s, it's tough to hit 24 out of 26 passes, just in practice against air. The fact that you're 12-0, 12-0 is a phenomenal feat. These seniors, this is the most winningest class in the history of Georgia football, and that's with the COVID year thrown in there. So point being, even if you were to lose next week or you lose in the playoffs, you have still achieved something remarkable. And I know we have the overreaction show and we kind of nitpick and we worry about what does this mean for next week, or what does this mean for against Ohio State, or what does this mean for Michigan. I want everybody, after this show's over and you're watching these other games, to sit back and think about how every other team in the entire country wishes that they were Georgia Bulldogs right now. They wish they had this team. They wish they had this defense, this offense, this recruiting prowess. Georgia flipped a big-time recruit in Anthony Evans away from Oklahoma. They're looking – was it? Yeah, it was Oklahoma. They're looking to flip some other kids. Georgia's going to end recruiting well. And even if you don't win the ultimate prize this year, where you are right now is just phenomenal. So don't fret so much about LSU and who's going to be in the playoffs that you don't appreciate the fact that you just went 12-0, first time back-to-back in the history of Georgia fans. I know a lot of you folks are 50, 60, 30, 40 years old. You've never seen anything like this. That's because it's never happened, and some of our folks on the dog event who are, I think of like old Ken Vermetter, who was in his 80s, Ken's watching from heaven going, man, that's my team. So point being, don't obsess about the penalties or the turnovers and stuff like that. Enjoy the fact that this is the golden, and there's no signs of it stopping. So let's not say a 12-0 season is not good enough. The only thing that matters is how well you do in the SEC championship game in the playoffs. Two things can be true at once. That can be the sign of a successful season, and going 12-0 can be fantastic. So
there you go.
Yeah, I like this right here. And I put it in my notes in my 3-2-1 column. This was the rebuilding year. You lost 15 guys to the NFL. You lost a ton of guys to the portal. You weren't supposed to be this good this year. So
what was the final score of this game?
30. Shit, you got me screwed up here now.
Because I have two different numbers here. ESPN is reporting 37-14. Meanwhile,
there's 37-14.
Georgia Dawgs has it as 36-14.
Well, the press release from Georgia was 37-14 from Tim Hicks.
Hold on, bud. Hold on. I just want to show this real quick because I said 36-14 at the beginning because of this. Wait a second. 36-14. It's magic. It's voodoo. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the final stat sheet. Says 37-14.
Either way, whatever. They won. That just completely threw me off. I thought it was 37-14, but I get on here, it's 36-14. So
did they just stop? They didn't count the.
I guess they just didn't count it. Yeah, I said screw it.
Pod Leslie, last one. They're like, 36 is good enough.
36, yeah, whatever. But in all seriousness, great win, 12-0, man. Your at-home streak is high as it's ever been. You're sitting on the top of the throne right now. So enjoy it, guys. Huh?
We got one more caller though.
Where? No.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't want to do that. I want to go home, Grandpa.
No, I'm gonna make it quick. I was just waiting for bets to pay out at the golf course. So, but I had to get on, and I had to get your guys' opinion on what you guys thought on the first half. Was Georgia sleepwalking, or did you just not execute the way they should have, or what?
A and B.
Yeah, a little sleepwalking,
Okay.
a little tryptophan from the turkey, hungover a little bit. You were 35-point favorite to come in and win the game, and you show up and you kind of get hit in the mouth the first drive. So you got to bounce back off of it.
Well,
that is something Georgia needs to practice, though, is the fact that you're going to get everybody's best game.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they're used to that yet.
That's the team that you're playing. That's their Super Bowl. That's their biggest game of the year.
Oh, for Georgia Tech, absolutely. They would have been bowl eligible after this game knocked off number 1 Georgia. They're going to give you their best that they've got.
Now, with Georgia coming off of the last two, I guess you could call it like really 4 big games between Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Kentucky, where they just, I don't know. I mean, you can be beat up and still beat a team up, but I don't know. It's like, man, they just look really lethargic today, in the first half. And I don't know what they said in the second half, and special teams did their job and all that stuff. But man, I'll tell you what, you go through Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State on the road and Kentucky on the road. That's not an easy challenge. Those guys were beat up, and you could say, well, they're not good teams, but that doesn't mean that they're not physical teams, and the fact that Georgia Tech said, hey, look, we're almost bowl eligible. And like you said, it's their Super Bowl, right, Roddy? And I don't lick doorknobs, by the way. I don't. All right. I caught it.
Sicko.
I caught that. I caught it. But
what are you doing? What are you doing? You said you were getting paid out from golf bets?
Yeah, I'm in the parking lot of the golf course right now.
Oh, so you just make money on Saturdays slinging 3 irons around, 4 irons around?
Yeah, man. It used to not be a hobby. But yeah, we played well today. So
nice, good.
Yeah, smooth little. And I was 2 shots better than the greatest number in the history of golf. But I'll probably get fact checked on that too, and they can come get it. So 67, no big deal.
Wow,
so,
wow,
yeah, played well.
You played great on the first 9.
Yeah, played. Yeah, I quit after 9. Yeah. Yes,
yeah.
But no, it was funny because I started watching the game at the house, and I said, you know what, fuck it. Sorry, I said, screw it. I'm gone. I'm just gonna go play golf. I'm just gonna let the guys play with it. I'm gonna wear my gear. I'm gonna do all that stuff. And then I kept checking, and it was like, holy cow! In the second half, we just kept scoring and scoring and scoring. I would love to. And I saw 37 too, Roddy, by the way, because. Did Pod miss the last field goal when it was when Milton ran it in from 44?
No, it shows on the stats he made it.
Yeah, I don't know why it says 36 here. Just to mess with me.
It was 30. It was 30-7 when Milton ran it in, and I don't know. So I started watching it.
He made it.
Okay, that should be 37. So,
yep.
But no. I'm not going to keep you guys. I know Paul and Roddy, you guys have been doing a great job tonight. And I jumped on late and I apologize. But next week, Paul, like I said, I got something for you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. It's coming. So great job tonight, guys. Again, as always, 12-0. That is
Smash
a feat.
That like button, Eddie.
That's right. Smash it. The Godfather, Eddie, the Godfather. Look, Georgia's got a better home record, a home record streak better than Clemson right now. So.
There you go.
Yep. So you guys have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your tryptophan, and we will see you come SEC Championship week, guys.
Yes,
God bless.
Sir. See you, Anthony. What a good guy, man. I love Anthony. He's a good guy. Even though he cussed and now we're demonetized, but it was a heck of a show up to this. It's a heck of a show.
Dude, Coach Donnan had the flu, and he actually made it through the game as well. He did a great job for that. So
flu game for Coach Donnan?
Flu game.
Flu game?
Dude, he was calling everything. It was filthy. He's like, Yeah, this is going to be a flag to Bowers into the field side, and it's a flag pass to Bowers. Flag
Well, hey,
route pass to Bowers. I'm like, okay.
At least Coach didn't show up to his mother's house thinking that they were having a nacho bar, which was what I was told. So we brought Mexican shredded chicken, only to be there for a Thanksgiving dinner lunch today. So that Mexican shredded chicken did not go with the Thanksgiving lunch. I did not get updated.
Everything, man. What are you talking
about? I mean, I ate it, but I did not get updated on that we were going to a traditional Thanksgiving meal. I heard we were getting a nacho bar earlier in the week. So we made the Mexican shredded chicken, show up, and it's, cranberry sauce, turkey, all that. And wife was a little upset.
Shredded chicken with some stuffing, man.
But tonight we're going to have shredded chicken quesadillas, so it works out. So
there you go.
But guys, we appreciate you staying with us for this long. Coming back next week, the SEC championship game. I'm sure there'll be a ton to overreact to. Georgia's playing a really mobile quarterback in Jaden Daniels, so we'll see how they can handle that adversity. But for Ryan Nabulsi, I'm Paul Maharry. Before you leave, though, hit that like button, guys. It helps us out a ton. Share it with your friends, and we will see you next week on the POS Postgame Overreaction Show presented by UGAsports.com. Thanks again.